Chapter 567 The Excited Viscount Longshan. Please subscribe. _2 Watching Lin Yuan leave wasn't just the deputy master of Anpu City. At the top of a loft, an enchanting woman clad in black was also gazing at Lin Yuan. This Longshan Yuan, not returning earlier or later, but suddenly going back now, all the efforts from before are wasted, sighed the attractive fox woman beside her. According to the plan, within 3 months, they would slowly drain Longshan Yuan's essence and marrow until the last day, making Longshan Yuan die from indulgence. There wouldn't be any hidden doubts or concerns, not even the most skilled experts could figure it out. Now, having already put in efforts for a month and with only 2 more left to go for success, Longshan Yuan decided to return. After returning, given Longshan Yuan's favor in the Longshan family, he was bound to consume many supplements, and the original essence qi he lost might well be replenished. No matter, given Longshan Yuan's temperament, he will soon come back to Anpu City. The woman in black remained calm. She hadn't noticed any suspicions. The excuse Longshan Yuan used for leaving was an order from the Viscount Longshan, only indicating that they were unlucky. Just bad luck once. Would they experience bad luck a second or a third time? The enchanting woman believed that by the time Longshan Yuan next visited Anpu City, it would be their chance to succeed with their scheme. Once Longshan Yuan died, and after enduring through the death of Longshan Ling's first and second in line to succession, the whole of Longshan Ling would become a cradle for the behind-the-scenes demigod undergoing divinity transformation, and they might even use Longshan Ling to extend their influence to several other large territories. Longshan Ling, Longshan City. Lin Yuan had not been back long before he saw his biological parents. Why have you come back so early this time? Longshan Fong looked like a middle-aged man as he glanced at Lin Yuan, somewhat curious. Although he had given up hope on his son, seeing Lin Yuan voluntarily give up on indulging in Anpu City still surprised him. He hadn't heard anything about an order from Viscount Longshan for Longshan Yuan to return, had he? Could it be that Longshan Yuan had returned of his own accord? What's wrong with our son coming back early? The woman next to him, who looked quite young, glared at Longshan Fong. Son, what would you like to do this time? Longshan City might not be as bustling as Anpu City, but it still has its charms. You'll surely find surprises if you look around, she said, doting over her son. Lin Yuan looked at his parents without saying a word. The succession of the Viscounty in the Longshan family wasn't a simple matter of passing from father to son, but depended on the current Viscount's wishes. For example, when Lin Yuan was born, the first Viscount happened to step into the 4th level. His mood brightened, considering this an auspicious sign. The birth of Longshan Yuan meant that the Longshan family's 4th level combat power heritage would continue. Therefore, bypassing Longshan Yuan's father, Longshan Yuan was named as the 3rd in line to succession. Who could have expected that Longshan Yuan would turn out to be so disappointing after all, indulging in women and pleasure and having no intention of inheriting the family business? This time I've come back because I want to do something, Lin Yuan said to his parents with a serious tone. Something important? Longshan Fong pondered. And have you taken a fancy to another woman? Son, don't listen to your father's nonsense. Just say what you want to do. Your mother will always support you, the young-looking woman said with a smile. I want to cultivate, Lin Yuan stated. As the 3rd in line to inherit from the Longshan family, Lin Yuan would have all the resources accumulated by the Longshan family over the years at his disposal if he chose to cultivate. That was the reason behind his outspoken declaration. As for secretly cultivating and then making a sensational breakthrough, that would be too exhausting, especially the gathering of resources which would take a considerable amount of time. Cultivate. Longshan Yuan's parents exchanged glances. They had anticipated any number of startling revelations from Longshan Yuan, but this was the one they least expected. No, the word cultivate was even more unbelievable for Longshan Yuan, far beyond any startling revelation. Why do you suddenly want to cultivate? Longshan Fong asked, looking intently at Lin Yuan. Because I feel that everything happening right now is meaningless. How long can one indulge in life's pleasures? 100 years? 200 at most. Then what? Just wait to die? But cultivating is different. As long as one can become a 5th-level knight, lifespan will extend, and the life essence will transform. That's what I want to do, Lin Yuan gave his prepared reason. Good, Longshan Fong thought for a moment and then nodded. I will talk directly to the head of the family about your wish to cultivate. I hope this isn't just a passing interest of yours. Longshan Fong was actually in a good mood. The words of Lin Yuan, upon interpretation, meant one thing. A simple description. That is, grown tired of it. As for the subsequent extension of one's lifespan and so on, who wouldn't want to live a few more years? The key is that not everyone can step into being a 5th-level great knight. But no matter what, his son's shift in interest from previous indulgences to cultivation was entirely a good thing. Even if Baron Longshan did not have high expectations for Lin Yuan's cultivation results, with the latter's body emptied by feminine charms, it was questionable whether he could even become a 1st-level knight. But on the whole, strengthening the body was not a problem. Son, cultivation is a tough task, said the woman who looked like a young mother, somewhat distressed. It's fine, I want to give it a try, Lin Yuan said with a smile. That afternoon, the Longshan family's underground cultivation field. Spanning hundreds of miles, it was where many of the Longshan family members practiced in seclusion. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, facing an old man with white hair and beard. The old man looked somewhat frail, but his presence was reserved, and there was a hint of a power in him that seemed capable of shaking mountains. Wanting to cultivate, wanting to become a knight, is not a simple matter, the old man said to Lin Yuan in a steady tone. He was one of the few 4th-level knights of the Longshan family. Since the first Viscount established the Longshan family 2,000 years ago and passed down the heritage, it was rare to give birth to a 5th-level great knight. Their combat power usually peaked at the 4th-level knight, and it was only because of the precautions left by the first Viscount that the Longshan family had been able to continue for so many years. Indeed, for Viscount-level families, a 4th-level combat power was almost enough for suppression. As for a 5th-level great knight, that was something that might be born at the peak of a Viscount-level powers era. I understand, Lin Yuan nodded. Good, the old man said without any unnecessary words, took out 2 items. One was a book, and the other was an orange fruit. This is the main text of the Longshan cultivation skill, and this is the Longshan fruit, containing a large amount of energy. Any descendant of our Longshan family who wishes to cultivate must learn to enter the Longshan cultivation skill on their own, the old man began, within a month. As long as you can enter the introductory phase of the Longshan cultivation skill, it will prove you have the talent to continue cultivating. What counts as entering the introductory phase? Lin Yuan asked. Sensing the qi sensation is enough, the old man replied. Sensing the qi sensation, the old man was about to go into detail about how to sense the qi sensation. Although any descendant of the Longshan family must enter the Longshan cultivation skill on their own, Lin Yuan, as the family's third in line for succession, certainly had different conditions than other family members. For example, the details on how to sense the qi sensation that the old man was about to share were not something other descendants of the Longshan family would be entitled to hear. Imagine, many descendants of the Longshan family didn't even know the concept of qi sensation, so how crucial was it at this moment for someone to explain the details of sensing the qi sensation to them? However, before the old man could speak, Lin Yuan glanced over the main text of the Longshan cultivation skill, then closed his eyes, only to open them again instantly. I have already sensed the qi sensation, Lin Yuan replied. The old man looked at Lin Yuan. In the depths of the Longshan family abode, the current Viscount Longshan massaged his temples. As the supreme ruler of Longshan Ling, he had too many tasks to handle regularly. From negotiating with other Viscounts' territories to addressing the many opinions of the citizens within his own domain. I wonder how Yuan is doing? Viscount Longshan suddenly remembered something. At noon, Longshan Fong had told him that Longshan Yuan wanted to cultivate. Viscount Longshan had immediately sent one of the 4th-level knights from the family to explain cultivation to Longshan Yuan. By now, it should be about time for that explanation to have finished. Just then, an old man quickly entered the room. My lord, the old man's face was flushed with surprise, and he had yet to calm down. "Oh, I was just about to ask you." Viscount Longshan's eyes brightened, but upon seeing the old man's expression, his heart chilled slightly. Could it be that Longshan Yuan really lacked the talent for cultivation and had disgruntled the explaining old man? Chapter 568, The Hope of the Longshan Family. Please subscribe. Patriarch. The elder, named Longshan Zhu, had already been a 4th-level knight many years ago and was part of the Longshan family's foundation. How many 4th-level knights were there throughout the entire Longshan Ling? If Baron Longshan hadn't personally sent a message this time, it would have been impossible for Longshan Zhu, with his status, to make an exception for a junior member of the Longshan family. Yet, Longshan Zhu could never have imagined that the task he had planned to deal with in a perfunctory manner would turn out to be such a fantastical, unbelievable affair. So much so that even now, he was still somewhat dazed, constantly needing to confirm whether or not he was dreaming. "What's the matter?" When Baron Longshan saw that Longshan Zhu wasn't speaking, he faintly sensed that something was wrong. Could it be that Yun is really a piece of rotten wood? Baron Longshan's tone was somewhat disappointed. The Longshan family's bloodline was extraordinary, and they cultivated the hereditary Longshan cultivation skill. Plus, with Longshan Zhu, a predecessor like him providing guidance, even if Longshan Yuan was below average, sensing the Qi within a month shouldn't be difficult. Rotten wood. Longshan Zhu was taken aback upon hearing Baron Longshan say this and hurriedly explained, "Patriarch, young Master Yuan is not a piece of rotten wood. He has already sensed the Qi, not a piece of rotten wood." Baron Longshan had just heaved a sigh of relief when he suddenly widened his eyes. "What did you say? He has already sensed the Qi?" Whether it was the Longshan cultivation skill or any other knight's cultivation method, the first step is to sense the Qi. That is also the prerequisite for becoming a 1st-level knight, and any creature that senses the Qi can transform itself by harnessing the power of the Qi, and immediately afterwards, can choose to cultivate a knight's method that suits them. But sensing the Qi is difficult, and it is also a great test of a knight's talent. The Longshan family allocates 1 month for its members to sense the Qi. As long as they sense the Qi within this month, they will have the hope of becoming formal knights and will be nurtured by the Longshan family. But now? How long had it been since Longshan Zhu began guiding Longshan Yuan? An hour? Or 2 hours? You're saying I sensed the Qi within 2 hours? Baron Longshan's voice trembled slightly. In the history of the Longshan family, since the first Viscount took over Longshan Ling, only 3 people had sensed the Qi within 2 hours. 2 of these 3 people eventually became 5th-level Grand Knights and left a significant mark on the history of the Longshan family. The remaining 1 unfortunately perished along the way. Not every generation of the Longshan family has a 5th-level Grand Knight in command. For example, the current strongest person in Longshan Ling is only at the 4th level. The birth of a 5th-level Grand Knight means that the Longshan family's power would return to its peak, to the era of the first Viscount, and the surrounding Viscounts would become utterly submissive and cooperative. The Empire would even bestow rewards once again, congratulating the Longshan family for the birth of another Grand Knight. Such numerous honors and benefits, all because of a 5th-level Grand Knight. Sense the Qi within 2 hours. Longshan Zhu fell silent again. If it were truly so, he would be overwhelmed with joy at this moment, instead of appearing as he did now, uncertain of how to speak, and with a tinge of trepidation. Patriarch, the time young Master Yuan took to sense the Qi was 2 breaths. Longshan Zhu steadied himself and spoke with some difficulty. Actually, whether it was even 2 breaths, Longshan Zhu wasn't certain. He only remembered Longshan Yuan glancing at the Longshan cultivation skill and then claiming to have sensed the Qi. If it were not for Longshan Zhu's true sense of the Qi fluctuations within Longshan Yuan's body, he might have even planned to scold the latter a few words. "What did you say, 2 breaths?" Baron Longshan was dumbstruck. If it were within 2 hours to sense the Qi, he could still barely understand, but in 2 breaths? 2 breaths hardly gave enough time even to calm one's mind, let alone sense the Qi, right? "Are you sure?" Baron Longshan took a deep breath and stood up, asking solemnly. Although he knew Longshan Zhu well and understood that this elder of the Longshan family never liked to joke around, especially concerning matters of great importance to the family, he would never engage in any deceit or concealment. But sensing the qi si within 2 breaths was too incredible. "I am certain," Longshan Zhu stated with utmost conviction. He was certain that Longshan Yuan's qi si had been sensed only after he had met him and looked at that Longshan cultivation skill. Sensing the qi si within 2 breaths. Does it mean that my Longshan family is truly going to soar to the heavens? After his shock, Baron Longshan was ecstatic. If sensing the qi si within 2 hours already holds the hope of becoming a 5th-level Grand Knight, then what about sensing the qi si within 2 breaths? A 6th-level Legendary Knight? Or a 7th-level demigod? You should know that on the plateau of myriad nations, as long as a 7th-level demigod doesn't secretly spread their faith, just casually joining any of those empires brings infinite glory upon them. Even the gods residing in the ocean of light cast admiring glances their way. A 7th-level demigod, if willing, can strike a deal with the gods of the ocean of light and can absolutely start a new empire. Who else knows about this? Baron Longshan's gaze suddenly became deep. "Patriarch, only the 2 of us are aware of it." Longshan Zhu also understood the gravity of the situation and spoke earnestly. "That's good." Baron Longshan nodded. The surrounding Viscount's territories, even those further away, allow the Longshan family to bring forth a future Grand Knight candidate who sensed the qi si within 2 hours. But to have sensed the qi si within 2 breaths? Should this news leak, it would not be a good thing. Chapter 569 The Hope of the Longshan Family. Please subscribe. _2 Baron Longshan could be certain that the empire would inevitably intervene, and by then, Longshan Yuan might be forcibly summoned to the capital. From now on, Ewan's sensation of the qi si will not be 2 breaths, but 5 hours. Baron Longshan pondered for a while before seriously saying to Longshan Zhu, "Feeling the qi si within 2 hours is the qualification of a future potential great knight," but Baron Longshan still felt it was a bit too conspicuous. 5 hours would be just right. With the talent to become a 4th-level knight, it wouldn't draw too much attention from other forces. "Good," Longshan Zhu immediately replied. He understood this was an unprecedented opportunity for the Longshan family. All they needed was the patience to wait for Longshan Yuan to grow, and it would be the moment for the Longshan family to soar. "N is the hope of our Longshan family. I absolutely will not allow anyone to threaten N," the Baron mused to himself. After Lin Yuan emerged from the Longshan family's underground cultivation ground, he faintly felt that there were eyes watching him. Have they sent someone to protect me? Lin Yuan had his suspicions. He demonstrated a portion of his talent just to gain the wholehearted resource allocation from the Longshan family, so he could be more efficient in his upcoming cultivation. This was also the experience Lin Yuan had accumulated over his 8 previous traversals. As for whether it would arouse the Longshan family's wariness, Longshan Yuan was a pure-blooded member of the Longshan clan, and also the 3rd in line for succession. The stronger his talent, the better it was for the Longshan family. Moreover, the talent Lin Yuan had revealed was already quite restrained, merely instantaneously sensing the qi si, which wasn't much. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, Dashan, standing 3 to 4 meters tall, approached with large strides. "Young master, I heard that you sensed the qi si in 5 hours, Dashan asked with a bit of naivety. "Yes," Lin Yuan nodded. Not long after sensing the qi si, Longshan Zhu returned again, continually reminding him not to expose the real speed of his qi si sensation. Lin Yuan was naturally aware of the intention behind such admonishments and agreed cooperatively. "Sensing the qi si in 5 hours means your knight talent must be very high," Dashan said with a booming voice. It had taken him almost a day to sense the qi si back in the day. "Let's go," Lin Yuan said. "Okay." Dashan immediately bowed down to let Lin Yuan sit on his shoulder. Over 3 meters tall, Dashan was like a small giant, and Lin Yuan sitting on his shoulders felt nothing out of the ordinary. "The starry sky is truly beautiful," Dashan ran while looking up towards the heavens. It was already night, and the vast and profound stars emerged, their terrifying power perceptible even from distances vast beyond comprehension. Indeed, it is beautiful, Lin Yuan agreed. Meanwhile, a flood of information about the stars above the sky came to mind. Life in this realm, after cultivating to the level of a 7th-level demigod, would need to gather faith and eventually uplift their divine kingdom, entering the ocean of light or the dark abyss. Why is it called uplifting the divine kingdom? It's because the divine kingdoms of the gods ascend above the sky, turning into the everlasting stars. In other words, each star Lin Yuan was looking at represented a god's divine kingdom. The stronger the god, the more terrifying their corresponding star would be. The star representing the 24 prime gods was magnificent and grand, their dreadful presence shaking much of the starry sky. Even Lin Yuan, despite the incomprehensibly vast distance separating him from those 24 stars, felt a sense of awe and trepidation. By feeling the divine kingdoms of the stars, Lin Yuan had a vague sense of the true strength of the prime gods. Each prime god was no weaker than special beings like Xianxia, and they weren't too far from the 10th rank. This world's cultivation system actually places the inner world outside. But by doing so, the inner world relies entirely on the main world, and its growth rate must be very fast, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The 8th-layer beings of the main universe all had the worlds they opened up inside themselves, hence it's called the inner world. In this way, one would have absolute control over their inner world. The inner world is the foundation of 8th-layer life. To place it outside would be too dangerous. But this also caused a sense of separation between the inner world and the main world, preventing the full utilization of the main universe's power for growth, which is why 9th-rank evolvers strive so hard to open up layers upon layers of spatial layers, to increase the thickness and depth of their inner world as much as possible. It's a rather good cultivation system, Lin Yuan nodded, realizing that externalizing one's inner world had many benefits, such as accelerating its growth and reducing the burden on oneself. Of course, there was an obvious downside. If an enemy were to directly strike the stars in the sky above, wouldn't they be able to hit a god's weak spot? Whether it was the god's divine kingdoms or the inner worlds of those from the 8th layer, they were all foundational cores. A collapse would have incalculable consequences. Dashan, do you think those stars could fall? Lin Yuan asked casually. Fall? The stars? Dashan's eyes widened, somewhat unable to grasp the concept. Each star represented a god, and the falling of a star meant the demise of the associated god. But in Dashan's understanding, gods were eternal, dwelling high above the ocean of light, overlooking the mortals below. How could gods possibly fall? Young master, how could a star fall down? Dashan asked. He had never contemplated this, having seen many stars in the sky since his birth, which had not changed over the years. Indeed, Lin Yuan nodded. Soon, with Dashan running wildly, Lin Yuan soon arrived home. His parents had been waiting for a while, clearly informed in advance. In this world, among the 24 prime gods of the Ocean of Light, there was one known as the goddess of the magic web, whose divine power weaved a magic web that spread throughout humanity. Any message could be conveyed through the magic web, quite conveniently. Son, your talent for night training is even stronger than mine. You truly are my Longshan Fang's son. Ha! Longshan Fang immediately shouted excitedly. 5 hours to sense the Qi Si. That's surely the seed of a future 4th-level knight. Within the vast Longshan Ling, there were no more than 24th-level knights. Each one was the foundation of the Longshan family, the strongest deterrent against other Viscount territories. And you still have the face to say he's stronger than you? A woman with the appearance of a young wife couldn't help saying, I remember when you first sensed the Qi Si, it took you almost half a month. Just admit that he's stronger than me, Longshan Fang said indifferently. Being a little stronger is still being stronger. Being 100 times stronger is still being stronger. If it were another member of the human race sensing the Qi Si in 5 hours, Longshan Fang would have likely made some sarcastic remarks. But this was his own son. In Longshan Fang's heart, there was only pride. After a few words with his parents, Lin Yuan returned to his cultivation room. So many Longshan fruits? Lin Yuan looked at the dozens of fruits already laid out there. The Longshan fruit, a type of spirit fruit produced by Longshan Ling, contained a significant amount of energy, which could aid knights in their cultivation. When Lin Yuan was previously sensing the Qi Si, Longshan Zhu had also brought a spirit fruit, planning to have Lin Yuan swallow it when he sensed the Qi Si. With the help of the immense energy in the Longshan fruit, locking onto the Qi Si waves would be easier. The energy contained in the Longshan fruit was not only immense but also gentle. Even if one couldn't absorb it, it would remain dormant within the flesh, slowly absorbed when possible in the future. Therefore, Longshan fruits were extremely precious, with normal human race individuals receiving one a month, and even that was based on the premise of having a talent for knight training. Yet now, Lin Yuan's cultivation room had dozens of Longshan fruits laid out. The majority of the Longshan family had never seen so many Longshan fruits in their lifetimes. I can't cultivate for now. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, casually picking up a Longshan fruit and swallowing it, feeling the gentle strength flowing through his limbs and body. What Lin Yuan needed to do most now was to recover as much as possible the original essence qi deficit caused by Longshan Yuan's years of indulgence in pleasures of the flesh. Chapter 570 100 Years, Subscription Request. Original Essence Qi Deficit. This doesn't mean that simply consuming spirit fruit and other nourishing substances would perfectly replenish it. At least, by Lin Yuan's standards, it was far from simple. But it was also not very difficult. According to Lin Yuan's estimate, given the current conditions, it would take at most 3 or 4 days to replenish. By then, with original essence qi back to perfection, Lin Yuan's cultivation speed would enter a period of explosive growth. It wasn't exactly cultivation. It was more about systematically returning to the peak. The life of this world, the physical body harbors unimaginable potential. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, thinking silently. In this respect, Lin Yuan had already discovered, at the time of consciousness descent, that the original Longshan Yuan was deeply addicted to the company of women. Regardless of how weak he appeared, a few days' rest would almost restore him, hinting at the robustness of his physique. Potential. Does it come from the bloodline? Lin Yuan slightly closed his eyes, feeling it carefully. Even with such a cursory sensing, he could detect several dozen bloodlines within Longshan Yuan's body, some of which were faint, probably separated by many years, but among these bloodlines, more than 10 were of the 7th rank bloodline. It is somewhat similar to those bloodline evolutionary families in the main universe, Lin Yuan mused. The knight cultivation system of this realm fundamentally involves tapping into the power of bloodlines, such as the Longshan cultivation law, which strengthens one's power by stimulating the mountain dragon bloodline within the Longshan family. Too many and too mixed bloodlines, how chaotic was the Longshan family's ancestor? Lin Yuan slightly shook his head. The Longshan family's mountain dragon bloodline originated from a dragon beast whose size was akin to mountain ranges. How this dragon beast's bloodline was integrated into the Longshan family is also a question. Most bloodline evolutionary families in the main world do so by extracting the bloodlines of those unique beings, turning them into bloodline potions, and finally integrating these potions with their own bloodlines. But as for the Longshan family and many other families, even the imperial clan, they do not know. So far, Lin Yuan has not heard of the concept of bloodline potion in this realm. By tapping into the power of bloodlines, thus the knights of this world cultivate quickly, but of course, their lifespans are also short, Lin Yuan thought. Although the bloodline evolutionary families in the main universe also delve into their own bloodlines, they supplement their cultivation with other evolutionary paths. Unlike the knights of this realm, who rely solely on the power of bloodlines. This limitation leads to a situation where, unless they kindle the divine fire and become 7th rank demigods, even the 6th rank legendary knights find it hard to live past 1,000 years. The 4th and 5th rank knights are even more so. Living past 200 years is considered long-lived. Not just purely relying on the power of bloodlines, but more like it's the world rules that are limiting? Lin Yuan concluded. No matter how much they relied on the power of bloodlines, after stepping into the 6th rank, equivalent to a 6th rank evolver in the main world. Their life essence is set, so how could they not live past 1,000 years? The only possibility is the world rules of this realm. Just like during the 8th transmigration, where the supreme immortal kings of the spirit realm could endure epoch after epoch, almost indefinitely, as long as they're not met with accidents, with lifespans far exceeding the 8th layer evolvers of the main world. This realm is the same. Unless the divine fire is kindled, lifespans are considerably short. However, the lifespans of the 8th layer divine beings seem terrifyingly long. In stark contrast to those below the 7th layer, Lin Yuan raised his head again to glance at the sky. If the 7th rank demigods who have kindled the divine fire still face the possibility of their divine fire extinguishing, then the 8th layer divine beings truly endured throughout the ages, residing either in the ocean of light or the abyss of darkness, overlooking the mortal realms, especially those 24 prime gods who manage parts of the rule's authority, posed a greater threat to Lin Yuan than Hunyi, the strongest 9th rank life form of the Tianyu clan, which had opened over 30 million spatial layers. Take it slow. This descent has a stay of 1,110 years. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry. With the full support of the Longshan family, as long as Lin Yuan recovered a certain level of power, the subsequent increase in strength would entirely be like a snowball effect. It's just, this world places such importance on bloodlines. The bodily bloodline origins are ancient and mysterious, and the physical body divine ability that emerges from this basis must not be weak. Expectation appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Physical body divine ability, an exclusive capability of the martial path evolutionary path, awakens divine skills based on the bloodlines within one's body upon reaching the 6th rank. For other martial arts evolutionaries, they could only awaken one physical body divine ability in their lifetime, but due to Lin Yuan's ability descended from the door to the myriad realms, he could awaken one after another. However, even among physical body divine abilities, there was a distinction between strong and weak. The 3 physical body divine abilities Lin Yuan currently possessed: blood rebirth, mountain moving, strengthening. Among them, blood rebirth and strengthening were of great help to Lin Yuan, but mountain moving, being purely a force-based divine skill, was slightly lesser in utility. Both in terms of application scope and strength, it was inferior to the previous 2. Given that the descended body had such a rich source of bloodlines, the ultimately awakened physical body divine ability would likely not be too weak. Longshan Ling Longshan City. This day was a grand occasion for the Longshan family. It was said that the first Viscount Longshan had established the Longshan family on this day, hence beginning over 2,000 years of absolute dominion over Longshan Ling. As the third in line for succession in the Longshan family, Lin Yuan naturally would not be absent during such an important event. Big brother Yuan, today's sun is so hot, it's making me feel dizzy. What should we do? A young girl from the Longshan family with flushed cheeks said, leaning towards Lin Yuan. Chapter 571 800 Years, Subscription Request, The sun's hot. Lin Yuan looked up at the sky. It was indeed somewhat hot, but to the strong-bodied members of the Longshan family, this heat was nothing. They could stand in it for 3 days and nights without a problem. Are you having problems with your cultivation? Lin Yuan glanced at the girl, whose name was Longshan Ling, a distant cousin of his. To ensure the purity of their bloodline, it was customary in the Longshan family to marry within the clan, as long as the individuals were not direct blood relatives. I don't know. I just feel so hot from the sun's rays on my body. Longshan Ling leaned closer to Lin Yuan and said somewhat coyly, I think the heat on your body is not from the sun, but from yourself. Another girl couldn't help but interject with a cold huff. Longshan Lan, would you die if you kept silent? Longshan Ling immediately glared at her. Hee, what's wrong? You can speak but I can't? The girl named Longshan Lan retorted immediately. If you're tired, take a rest first. I should go back to my cultivation, Lin Yuan said and then turned to leave. As the third in line for the Longshan family inheritance, Lin Yuan, after turning over a new leaf, and having sensed the Qi Si within 5 hours, had attracted a lot of pursuit from the girls of the Longshan family. First of all, Lin Yuan was good-looking, differing from the robust and rugged demeanor of the Longshan clan. Lin Yuan had a sort of androgynous beauty. Moreover, Lin Yuan was very likely to become a fourth-level knight in the future and to inherit the position of Viscount of the Longshan family. He suddenly became the most popular male in the Longshan family. Lots of eligible girls had their eyes on Lin Yuan. Even those who were a bit older or younger were watching him. Who wouldn't like an excellent man? And Lin Yuan was not just excellent, he was practically perfect. Just now it was so close. Longshan Lan, you ruined my good opportunity, Longshan Ling said angrily after Lin Yuan left. Ruined your good opportunity? Longshan Ling, can't you see that Brother Yuan has not the slightest interest in you? Longshan Lan spoke up. She had pursued Lin Yuan too but had been directly rejected. Seeing Longshan Ling being so touchy with Lin Yuan, she couldn't help but interrupt. I think Brother Yuan might prefer someone gentler. You're all too forward. It might scare Brother Yuan, a younger girl spoke up. Scare Brother Yuan? Longshan Lan rolled her eyes. Had everyone forgotten Longshan Yuan's past in just a few years? However, the women of the Longshan family didn't care about a man having a rich history with women. As long as he was strong and excellent, that was enough. Regardless, I still feel that Brother Yuan has some good feelings for me. At least he didn't reject me just now. Longshan Ling thought somewhat infatuatedly, but then she glared at Longshan Lan with gritted teeth. Longshan Lan, if you dare to mess up my chance next time, we will be irreconcilable enemies. I'm scared of you? Longshan Lan laughed scornfully. Brother Yuan will definitely have the strength of a fourth-level knight in the future, inheriting the title of Viscount. He will only be with a woman who can help him. I, Longshan Yao, with a grandfather who is also a fourth-level Grand Knight, can bring help to Brother Yuan in controlling the family. I am the most suitable match for Brother Yuan, another young girl said as she walked by. Her grandfather was indeed Longshan Zhu, although the Viscount and Longshan Zhu had decided to absolutely not reveal Lin Yuan's true talent and abilities. But Longshan Zhu kept hinting to his granddaughter to pursue Lin Yuan, because he knew Lin Yuan's true potential and talent was far stronger than what he showed to the outside world. Though they dared not predict him becoming a demigod who had ignited the divine fire, as the Longshan family had no detailed information about the 7th-level demigods. But there was great certainty of him becoming a 6th-level legendary knight. That's a legendary knight. As long as he was willing to submit to the empire, he would at least be given the title of Earl and rule over a territory many times larger than that of Longshan Ling. To become the wife of an earl was a rare honor throughout the entire empire. Lin Yuan quickly arrived at his cultivation room. The original essence qi has almost been replenished. Now I can start cultivating. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged and swallowed a long yuan fruit. The immense power flowed through his limbs and body, being quickly absorbed by Lin Yuan. The situation in the Xianxia secret realm is still stable. Xilan has not been caught up by Hunyi. Lin Yuan slightly used the door to the myriad realms to sense, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. He had been in this world for nearly a week, and in the Xianxia secret realm's time flow, a little half an hour had passed. After such a long time, Hunyi still hasn't caught up with Xilan, so there probably won't be any surprises coming up. Since Xilan dared to assure Lin Yuan that she could hold on for 3 years, she must have enough confidence. Xianxuang's secret realm. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly. That sense of calling from the core area of this secret realm made him curious even now. Speaking of which, this world should be the homeland of one of the followers of the emperor from the Xianxuang secret realm, Lin Yuan thought to himself. What the follower desired most was to return to his homeland, even considering the coordinates of his home world the most precious treasure among the many he left behind. As a result, the home world that the follower longed for was now right in front of Lin Yuan. Anpu City. In the Dark Palace. A charming woman dressed in black gauze stood there, frowning and saying, after Longshan Yuan returned to Longshan City, he actually became interested in cultivation and sensed the Qi Si within 5 hours? The charming woman was somewhat stunned. That uneducated Longshan Yuan actually possessed the potential to become a 4th-level knight? That's not right. It can't even be called potential anymore. Sensing the Qi Si within 5 hours, plus being the third in line to inherit the Longshan family and receiving the full resources of the entire family. It can be said that, barring accidents, he will surely become a 4th-level knight. Divine Envoy, what should we do now? Asked the foxwoman below, also full of incredulity. She well understood Longshan Yuan's behavior, having been intimately involved with him on many occasions. Now that Longshan Yuan will surely be given priority protection by the Longshan family, things have become a little troublesome. The charming woman felt it was a difficult issue. If Longshan Yuan remained the way he was before, even as the third in line, he would not have attracted much attention from the Longshan family without the qualifications of a knight. But now, the charming woman even suspected that there might be 4th-level knights secretly protecting Longshan Yuan. The most important thing now is to see Longshan Yuan, she said. Talent is predetermined by heaven, there's no helping it, but Longshan Yuan likes to indulge in pleasure, especially women. As long as he sees you, he will surely be unable to control himself. The charming woman looked at the foxwoman. You go to Longshan City and try your best to see Longshan Yuan, so that we can continue to have him in our grasp. After replenishing his original essence Qi, Lin Yuan spent most of his time cultivating. Other than occasionally checking on his parents, even Dashan rarely saw Lin Yuan. During this period, the several 4th-level knights of the Longshan family wanted to give some guidance to Lin Yuan, hoping the family's future hope would take fewer detours. Unfortunately, what would again lead to a collapse of morale among the Longshan family's 4th-level knights occurred. Their guidance had no effect on Lin Yuan. It was as if he was born to be a knight. The knightly theories and skills, as soon as they spoke the first few words, Lin Yuan was able to comprehend them fully. Over time, these 4th-level knights gave up the idea of shining bright for the family, because in the end, they found that they simply couldn't provide any guidance to Lin Yuan. On the contrary, in the course of their ongoing discussions with Lin Yuan, these 4th-level knights shockingly realized, could the path they were taking be wrong? Could the Longshan cultivation skill no longer be the most correct way to cultivate? On Lin Yuan's side, after sending away those family 4th-level knights, his cultivation began to soar. With ample resources available, after getting through the initial stages, Lin Yuan was making progress every moment. And so, time began to pass silently. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had gone by. Chapter 572 Mother Goddess of Lust. Please subscribe. The Longshan Ling spans 60 million li, with the vast majority of the region being desolate and uninhabited. Atop a mountain peak thousands of zhang high, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged alone. The space around him subtly distorted, and a terrifying aura was suppressed within a few dozen zhang of his body. If he let go of the suppression, it was estimated that in an instant, it could sweep across tens of millions of li. Among the numerous bloodlines of the Longshan family, the mountain dragon bloodline is the most obvious and the easiest to feel. Thus, the people of the Longshan family generally focus on excavating the mountain dragon bloodline. The first Viscount of Longshan from more than 2,000 years ago, he managed to excavate the mountain dragon bloodline to the 5th rank. Lin Yuan's thoughts spread out as he continued to ponder. But the easiest to feel doesn't mean the strongest. Over the years, I have almost completely analyzed my own bloodline, and I've discovered another extremely faint bloodline. This bloodline is at least of the 9th rank, perhaps even that of a near 10th rank, a peak 9th rank bloodline. In the last century, Lin Yuan had not only recovered his strength but had also been studying this world's cultivation system. What is called the knight cultivation skill is essentially about excavating the potential deep within one's bloodline to ultimately achieve returning to the ancestors. Under the restrictions of the rules of heaven and earth, even a 6th-rank legendary knight finds it difficult to live past 1,000 years. Obviously, the slow cultivation methods of the main universe are no longer suitable for this world. Excavating one's own bloodline and swiftly breaking through by following the pathway trodden by ancestors is what aligns with the trends of this world. In the human civilization of the main world, becoming 4th or 5th rank before the age of 100 is a rare talent for a planet or even a star domain. But in this world, becoming a 4th or 5th level knight before 100, although not common, It certainly isn't rare. By excavating the potential of the bloodline, until reaching the upper limit of the bloodline, there are nearly no fetters, with the only issue being how much bloodline potential can be excavated. If I want my martial path evolutionary path to spread in this world, I must make changes. Relying on the original cultivation method, what can I compare with the native knight cultivation skills? Lin Yuan thought to himself. The martial path evolutionary path needs to comprehend the external rules, but deep within the life force bloodlines of this world lies the essence of the corresponding rules. Comprehend the external rules? Where's the speed of comprehending the essence of the internal bloodline rules? Moreover, under the extreme pressure of a limited lifespan, Lin Yuan also began studying bloodlines, adapting the martial path evolutionary path to suit local conditions. The nearly 10th tier bloodline hidden within me is rare, but over these years of constant purification, I've roughly figured out its origin. Lin Yuan raised his right hand, a streak of rainbow light appeared, and a faint, terrifying pressure spread outward. Rainbow Dragon Clan. The most powerful life form in this world, born at the dawn of the world's creation, it is said that among the 24 prime gods who reside in the Ocean of Light, one of them belongs to the Rainbow Dragon Clan, known as the Rainbow Dragon God, the ultimate faith of the dragon bloodlines among mortals. Be it rock dragons, mountain dragons, or subdragons, their source of bloodline leads back to the Rainbow Dragon Clan. By absorbing many knight cultivation skills from this world, even those kept in reserve by the Imperial Clan of the Empire, and complementing them with 9th rank against heaven's understanding for deduction, I eventually managed to maintain the core of the martial arts evolution system intact, making it focus primarily on excavating the internal bloodline. The altered martial path evolutionary path. Martial Tao cultivation skill enables prioritizing the excavation of the most potent bloodline within one, the bloodline that suits oneself best, instead of being limited to specific knight cultivation skills. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The many knight cultivation skills of this world are all targeted at specific bloodlines. For example, the Longshan family's Longshan cultivation skill can only detect the mountain dragon bloodline, but it is incapable of discovering other bloodlines. But Lin Yuan's localized martial Tao cultivation skill doesn't have this limitation. It might not be stronger than many knight cultivation skills in specific aspects, but it's suitable for every knight or knight in training. This fact alone would allow the martial Tao cultivation skill to spread rapidly in this world. Of course, the localized martial Tao cultivation skill is only suitable for propagation in this world. As for the main universe? If not for the drastically shortened lifespan due to the constraints of the rules of heaven and earth, naturally comprehending the external rules would be better. This is evident from how the powerful beings of this world, upon becoming demigods, need to rely on the faith of all beings to establish their divine kingdoms. Evolvers from the human civilization of the main universe are those who develop their own inner worlds without relying on external forces, and they will go further and be free of hidden dangers. It's just that after excavating this bloodline of the Rainbow Dragon Clan, it did indeed make my physical body 60% stronger. The path of bloodline cultivation has its merits. Lin Yuan stroked his chin. The 60% increase here refers to the foundational strength of the physical body, not taking into account various enhancements, akin to bathing in the eternal spring and improving one's body. And Lin Yuan also felt that he had not yet reached the end of his journey into the Rainbow Dragon Clan bloodline. The deeper he delved, the stronger the enhancement to his body. Over the last 100 years, I've also reopened my inner world and stepped into the 8th layer, just needing to accumulate to the peak of the 8th layer to effortlessly advance into the 9th rank. Lin Yuan reigned in his aura and stood up from the mountain peak. Considering the realm comparison between this world and the main world, the 8th layer is akin to a deity who has established a divine kingdom. And once a deity establishes a divine kingdom, they must enter the ocean of light or the abyss of darkness. Under the agreement of the 24 prime gods, deities are not allowed to linger in their true bodies among mortals, as that would impact all beings, a cost those based on the faith of all beings, the gods, cannot afford. Chapter 573 Mother Goddess of Lust. Please subscribe. Underscore 2 This means that with Lin Yuan's current strength, he could already be considered invincible among mortals. It's still not enough. Although the gods won't appear in the mortal realm, that doesn't mean they can't descend into it, they are simply restricted by the 24 most powerful prime gods. I still need to cultivate quietly and keep a low profile until I return to the 9th rank, then I will fear nothing. Lin Yuan thought to himself. This return to the 8th layer held no suspense for Lin Yuan. The only surprise was the awakening of his physical body divine ability. The elemental body. Capable of being immune to 90% of all elemental attacks at the same realm. The so-called elements are the interpretation of this world. In the main world prime universe, they are the rules. Elemental attacks are rule attacks. You must understand that for 7th rank, 8th rank, and even stronger evolvers, the primary method is to attack by leveraging the power of rules. Even the power of the world within an inner world is made up of many rules powers converging. The same strike, its might could reach 10. But if it is amplified by rules, its might could possibly reach 10,000, 100,000. Being immune to rule attacks, and up to 90% of them, directly made Lin Yuan almost unbeatable among 9th rank evolvers. Unless with external help, which 9th rank evolver could kill Lin Yuan. Not to mention killing, even inflicting a wound on Lin Yuan was as hard as ascending to heaven, and apart from that, Lin Yuan also had the blood rebirth divine ability, which allowed any injury to recover instantly. The rule attacks from which the elemental body is immune do not overlap with the effects of defensive treasures, meaning both can be used in conjunction. The most important thing is, this divine skill can grow with Lin Yuan's growth. When Lin Yuan reaches the 9th rank, he can be immune to 90% of the might of all rule attacks at the 9th layer level. When Lin Yuan reaches the 10th rank, naturally he can also be immune to 90% of the might of all rule attacks at the 10th layer level. Monstrous, this is truly monstrous. Lin Yuan inwardly exclaimed, such divine skills, coupled with blood rebirth, simply amounted to the strongest defensive divine skill combination. Ending today's cultivation, Lin Yuan returned to Longshan City. In the grand hall of the Longshan family, powerful knights stood patrolling. Patriarch. Upon seeing Lin Yuan appear, a knight immediately greeted him with respectful salutation. In 100 years, the former Baron Longshan had long passed on the title of Viscount and position of family head to Lin Yuan. Regardless of how much Lin Yuan concealed his strength, he had declared more than 80 years ago that he had entered the 4th level, becoming the true top combat power in Longshan Ling and several nearby Viscount territories. The transition of family power went smoothly, mainly because Lin Yuan's strength was sufficient. Many of the past Viscounts and heads of the Longshan family didn't have the power of the 4th level before their succession. It was only after becoming the Patriarch that they borrowed the family's vast cultivation resources to barely step into the 4th level. Lin Yuan, on the other hand, was already at the 4th level before succeeding as the Patriarch. Absolute strength, combined with the potential of becoming a 5th level knight, convinced many members of the family. Ling, that cultivation skill, have you taught it to the family members yet? Lin Yuan asked softly from the Viscount's throne. The Ling he spoke of was named Longshan Ling, who had once madly pursued Lin Yuan, but upon realizing there was little hope, she turned her efforts to the trivial affairs of the Longshan family and was used greatly by Lin Yuan. Patriarch, that cultivation skill is very effective. It seems to have no specific bloodline restrictions. Our Longshan family's prospective knights are practicing it, and they have even uncovered bloodline powers beyond the mountain dragon bloodline. Longshan Ling's voice trembled slightly with excitement. She understood all too well what such a cultivation skill meant. Many members of the Longshan family, despite having the potential to become knights, couldn't practice the Longshan cultivation skill due to the mountain dragon bloodline being too weak within them. But the martial Tao cultivation skill that Lin Yuan gave automatically uncovers the most suitable bloodline rather than being exclusive to the mountain dragon bloodline. Once such cultivation skills become widespread, it means that the number of knights of the Longshan family will surge. The more knights there are, the stronger the Longshan family becomes. The stronger the Longshan family becomes, the more resources they can acquire, which in turn enables them to train even more knights. This forms a virtuous cycle. Since that is the case, let it be disseminated, Lin Yuan said indifferently. The martial Tao cultivation skill he had handed to Longshan Ling was precisely the localized martial path evolutionary path. During this journey, apart from becoming as strong as possible and increasing his power, Lin Yuan naturally did not forget to disseminate the Tao. Before stepping into the realm of supreme beings, the ultimate leap requires more lives to cultivate the martial Tao cultivation evolution path, which would bring greater benefits to Lin Yuan. The creatures of this world are the sources of worship for the gods, and Lin Yuan wanted a share of that as well. Anyway, since there is no strict conflict between the two, Lin Yuan does not need the creatures' worship. He just needs them to cultivate the martial Tao evolution path. Disseminate it? Longshan Ling's heart trembled. She was well aware of how precious the cultivation skill Lin Yuan had given her was. Although its dissemination would maximize the strength of the Longshan family, at the same time, there was no way to prevent the skill from leaking out. Soon, knights from other territories would also get their hands on this cultivation skill, and the Longshan family's advantage would be diminished, even placed on the same starting line. Don't worry, just do as I say, and there won't be any problems. Lin Yuan glanced at Longshan Ling and spoke calmly. His purpose in localizing the martial path evolutionary path was to spread it as much as possible in this world, popularize it among the entire Longshan family, and then have it disseminated further. As for the Longshan family becoming indistinguishable from others? With Lin Yuan, the future Viscount Longshan, the glory of the Longshan family will far exceed Longshan Ling's imagination. And those people from the Lust Church, are they still in Longshan City? Lin Yuan asked about the second matter. The Lust Church is one of the demigod churches that the Empire severely cracks down on, which wandered to the vicinity of Anpu City over 100 years ago. Original essence Qi of Longshan Yuan, the former incarnation, was greatly damaged, and it was closely related to the Lust Church. Over the past century, Lin Yuan had largely figured out the Lust Church's goal, which is to secretly control the Longshan family to quietly collect faith for the Lust Mother Goddess behind the scenes. According to the information Lin Yuan received, the Mother Goddess of Lust is a very powerful demigod who has repeatedly escaped from the clutches of the main god of Rank's church. Although gods cannot directly interfere with the mortal world, as strong as the main god of Rank, they can descend through divine incarnations and wield combat power close to that of a true god. 100 years ago, the Lust Church targeted the original body, Longshan Yuan, but with the consciousness descent of Lin Yuan, he immediately returned to Longshan City and had no intention of going back to Anpu City, causing the plans of the Lust Church to fall through. With no other choice, the Lust Church could only send people to infiltrate Longshan City to see if they could continue to connect with Longshan Yuan. Unfortunately, the alluring vixen who infiltrated Longshan City waited for 50 years. After growing old without any allure left, she still did not encounter Lin Yuan. To be precise, this alluring vixen had seen Lin Yuan up close several times, but Lin Yuan couldn't be bothered with her. 50 years later, the vixen left the scene, aged and diminished, yet the Lust Church still did not give up on Longshan Ling and instead sent another young woman. This time, the Lust Church's aim was not on Lin Yuan but on the few members next in line for succession in the Longshan family. Lin Yuan saw through the Lust Church's intentions at a glance. For an organization like the Lust Church, which is wanted by the Empire, unless absolutely necessary, they would never take action. Otherwise, any trace would draw the attention of the Rank Church. After finding out they could not deal with Lin Yuan, the Lust Church preferred to take more time, planning to outlive Lin Yuan and slowly plot afterward. They wish to outlive me? A strange look appeared on Lin Yuan's face. This world's rules limit even 4th or 5th level knights from living past 200 years. In this light, the plans of the Lust Church did not seem so flawed, but that applied only to ordinary 4th or 5th level knights. As for Lin Yuan, even without considering his true lifespan, just the time he could stay, he had 1,110 years. Even if the Lust Church could wait, how would they face the fully empowered Lin Yuan capable of slaughtering true gods in his prime? Chapter 574 Fear of the Demigod, subscription requested. Lin Yuan sat on his throne, deep in thought. For a century he had intentionally allowed the Lust Church to operate freely, as it was backed by the Lust Mother Goddess, a powerful demigod. Theoretically, even if Lin Yuan were to remove all the covert agents of the Lust Church from Longshan City, it was unlikely to provoke the Lust Mother Goddess into action. But it is always good to be prepared for any possibility. After all, the people of the Lust Church hiding in Longshan City posed no threat to Lin Yuan, who had never feared anyone under the circumstances of maturation over time. It's time to deal with the Lust Church. Lin Yuan had made up his mind. Whether it was because of the grudges of his original self, Longshan Yuan, or the petty actions the Lust Church had taken against the Longshan family over the past century, Lin Yuan had no reason to spare the Lust Church. Previously, Lin Yuan lacked sufficient power. When he recovered to 7th rank, he worried that clashing with a demigod like the Lust Mother Goddess would attract the attention of the rank church. But now, at least on Earth, Lin Yuan was invincible. Even the divine incarnations of the 24 prime gods had proved far insufficient before him. Underneath Anpu City, this place was a luxurious palace, where groups of beautiful women clad in light veils walked together. A short, plump man followed behind the group, his immense perception absorbing every detail of the palace interior. "This must be the Lust Church's largest new stronghold," murmured the short, plump man. Naturally, it was Lin Yuan, or more precisely, his Taiyang divine spirit. Martial Tao primordial spirit, capable of myriad transformations, Lin Yuan had casually taken another form to come here. Dealing with the mere Lust Church, there was no need for his true body to appear. Over these 100+ years, the Lust Church seems to have thrived quite well. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The demigod behind the Lust Church, though not a true god, had also acquired some lust abilities, which could make one feel ecstatic. With such powers, the Lust Church had smoothly controlled some upper levels of Anpu City, as well as core family members in several nearby Viscounty territories. The group Lin Yuan was following included some of Anpu City's young second generation, who were specifically here to indulge. The demigod of the Lust Church, if she could gather faith, raise her divine throne, and achieve the position of a true god, then all the lust generated by the humans on Earth would become the source of her faith. Lin Yuan thought silently. For example, the War Over God, one of the 12 main gods of the Dark Abyss, grows stronger as human wars become more intense on Earth. Therefore, the War Over God constantly tries to incite various wars on Earth, but the 12 main gods of the Ocean of Light are relatively peaceful. The main god of rank, in particular, must maintain order on Earth, which is directly opposed to the War Over God. The standard for dividing the gods of the Ocean of Light and the Dark Abyss is not based on good or evil, but on the type of authority and faith they hold. The demigod behind the Lust Church, advocating the indulgence of lust, leans towards the Dark Abyss. But whether it's the main gods of the Ocean of Light or the Dark Abyss, their foundation lies in all beings, in faith. If all beings disappear and faith ceases, the fate of these main gods will also fall. "Sirs, I will take you inside next to enjoy true bliss, so I will be asking for your identities and names," said a seemingly frail and delicate woman, easy to awaken men's protective desires. The young second-generation men of Anpu City lined up in front of Lin Yuan nodded in agreement. Some of them were impatient, clearly not their first visit. So, the fragile woman came to Lin Yuan. "This, sir." The fragile woman examined Lin Yuan carefully, her expression changing slightly. As a chief admin of Lust Church, she recognized most of the young masters from Anpu City. Asking their identities was just a formality. But now, the frail woman realized she didn't recognize the short, plump man before her. Given the man's distinctive stout appearance, the frail woman would have had a deep impression had she seen him even once. She wouldn't be as unfamiliar as she was now. "Who exactly are you, and what are you doing here?" Although the frail woman's skepticism rose within her, she maintained her composure, trying to stabilize the situation with Lin Yuan. The rigorous screening to enter the underground palace wasn't lax. Simply following the large group wasn't enough. Lin Yuan suddenly appearing here meant something significant. Who I am is not your concern. Lin Yuan grinned, showing his white teeth. As for why I'm here? I'm here, Lin Yuan paused for a moment, then stated matter-of-factly, to kill your god. As soon as he finished speaking, the head of the frail woman before him exploded first, centered around Lin Yuan, the brains of all the beautiful women within a several hundred-mile radius of the luxurious underground palace burst. The young second generations of Anpu City who came to indulge, as well as the core family members from surrounding Viscount territories, suffered the same fate. In less than a breath's time, nearly everyone in the lavish underground palace was dead, including 12 4th-level knights and 4 5th-level knights. Now just the deepest part remains. Lin Yuan didn't stop. He continued toward the deepest part of the palace. There was a unique divine power resisting the shadowy influence of Lin Yuan's world. In truth, with Lin Yuan's current strength, even just a primordial spirit, he was not something a mere 7th-rank demigod could withstand, but in this world, there were the extensive magic webs arranged by the goddess of the magic web from Ocean of Light. Chapter 575 Fear of the Demigod, subscription requested, _2 Lin Yuan. If he unleashed too powerful strength, he would be detected by the goddess of the magic web. The goddess of the magic web is one of the 24 prime gods, at the 9th stage peak, nearing the strength of the 10th rank. Before restoring to his peak, Lin Yuan was reluctant to attract the attention of such a powerful being. Furthermore, once the goddess of the magic web became aware, the other 23 prime gods would definitely also know. The 24 prime gods of this realm, although divided into the Ocean of Light and the Black Abyss camps, all stand from the perspective of the gods and could completely join forces when necessary. Deepest Hall. The emissary of the Lust Church gathered together with several bishops. The youngest son of the Lord of Anpu City has been completely controlled by us. As long as we deal with the few heirs ahead of him, the entire Anpu City will become the garden of our church. There is also the 5th in line of succession from Viscount Qingwan. He's also under our control. Within at most 200 years, the 50 million li domain of Viscount Qingwan will belong to our church. 200 years ago, those mad dogs from the rank church drove us from the most prosperous capital to this place. One day, we will return, and our God will ascend the divine throne, becoming one of the eternal stars above the sky. The voices of the bishops of the Lust Church were uplifting, all possessing the strength of 6th-rank legendary knights, the core strength of the church. Over the years, the Lust Church had taken root in Anpu City, and its influence had only grown, which was evident to the bishops. Although Anpu City is far less prosperous and religiously diverse than the capital, it is much safer. In the capital, within the territory of the rank church, the Lust Church was like a rat crossing the street, constantly on the brink of being besieged with little carelessness. In Anpu City, however, it is much safer as long as they are cautious and don't act directly, making it difficult to attract the attention of the rank church. It's a pity that we didn't smoothly take down Longshan Ling 100 years ago. Otherwise, Anpu City and many surrounding domains would now belong to our Lust Church. A bishop sighed. The initial target of the Lust Church fleeing to Anpu City was indeed Longshan Ling. The Lust Church spared no effort to control the 4th heir of the Longshan family. If they could have dealt with Longshan Yuan and caused his accidental death at that time, in just a few decades, they would have been able to control the entire Longshan Ling. Then with the power of Longshan Ling, they could have influenced the surrounding Viscount territories, and Anpu City could not have resisted. Unfortunately, Longshan Yuan, that willful scion, unexpectedly turned to become a knight genius of the Longshan family, causing the early investments of the Lust Church to be wasted. A slow start led to continuous delays, and later, the Lust Church, unwilling to yield, specifically set aside efforts to try to win back Longshan Yuan. But still with no avail. If it weren't for that Longshan Yuan with the strength of the Lust Church, which could have stirred a storm in the capital, how could it have spent nearly 200 years without fully mastering Anpu City? That Longshan Yuan, blocking the footsteps of my God, should die. When the glory of my God covers Longshan Ling, Longshan Yuan will beg for life and beg for death. A bishop spoke. The emissary standing under the statue glanced at the several bishops below and said nothing more. She also extremely despised Longshan Yuan for delaying the precious development time of the church. Just then, the deepest hall suddenly began to tremble. Waves of pink divine power began to boil, trying to protect the few people inside the hall. However, under the crushing of an unknown power, all the pink divine power began to evaporate rapidly. What's going on? Did my god's divine power barrier automatically activate? Did we just get attacked? The bishops were shocked, and the normally calm emissary was also in disbelief. This deepest hall was a stronghold of the Lust Church, a place enveloped by the power of the Mother Goddess of Lust. Even if faced with an attack by a group of demigods, blocking it for a short time was not a problem. The Mother Goddess of Lust, even among other demigods, was undoubtedly a formidable figure. However now, in just a moment, 6/10 of all the pink divine power was evaporated, which was terrifying. Did all the congregation of the church perish? The emissary, clad in black gauze, seemed to have realized something as her expression drastically changed once again. As an emissary of the church, she could feel the life fluctuations of all church members, even sensing the faith power they generated. So when everyone in the luxurious palace died at a mere thought from Lin Yuan, she instantly sensed it. How is that possible? The emissary was astoundingly perplexed. The congregation in the luxurious palace was over 100,000 strong, including many 4th and 5th level knights. Even facing the siege of the ranked church, they would die one by one, not simultaneously. What is this situation? Thunderous sounds echoed. Just then, the large door in this area suddenly burst open. A short, stout man slowly walked in. Who in the end is it? Several bishops were both shocked and furious, staring at Lin Yuan, but the next moment their heads exploded without any warning. Strong as 6th-rank legendary figures, yet they possessed not a trace of resistance. Respected demigod, may I ask what brings you here? The divine envoy clad in black veils composed herself and immediately spoke with respectful demeanor. Being able to burst in so easily and slaughter 6th-rank legendary bishops as if slaughtering chickens, only a demigod of the same tier as the Mother Goddess of Lust could accomplish this. Moreover, not just any ordinary demigod, but at least one as powerful as the Mother Goddess of Lust herself. Facing such a powerful figure, even the prime gods of the Ocean of Light and the Dark Abyss had to manifest their divine powers to suppress, let alone others. Where is your church's god? Lin Yuan scanned his surroundings as he asked directly. His action was intended to resolve the threat of the Lust Church, and to completely annihilate the Lust Church, he had to kill the Mother Goddess of Lust that backed it. If the Mother Goddess of Lust did not die, the Lust Church could be rebuilt at any time. I do not know the whereabouts of my god. The divine envoy in black veils was slightly stunned before she continued. However, if your highness wishes to meet my god, I can make contact for you. No need. Too much trouble. Lin Yuan looked at the divine envoy in black veils. His thoughts shifted slightly, and her head likewise exploded. Causality. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly, tracing the obscure threads of causality to roughly lock onto the location of the Mother Goddess of Lust. Lin Yuan had decimated the Lust Church and slain many followers of the Mother Goddess of Lust. Although he had never directly interacted with the Mother Goddess of Lust, a tie of causality had also formed between them. Utilizing this thread of causality, Lin Yuan could faintly pinpoint the location of the Mother Goddess of Lust, in a place millions of miles away from the plateau of myriad nations. A woman dressed in a pink skirt hem was en route to the plateau of myriad nations, but suddenly stopped. Who in the end is slaughtering my followers? This woman was precisely the Mother Goddess of Lust. As a demigod, unless surrounded by a true god's divine incarnation, she could roam without fear. My hard-earned followers, the Mother Goddess of Lust lamented inside. Those incredibly devout followers were not easy to cultivate. She could sense that the church stronghold in Anpu City had been virtually wiped out. I must see who laid their hands on them. The Mother Goddess of Lust followed a certain connection, receiving the final images her followers saw before their death. This was also a power developed after establishing a faith connection. A deity possessed everything of their followers and could easily access memories and more. Bang bang bang. The mother goddess of lust furrowed her brows slightly. In just a few breaths, she saw many images of her followers just before they died, discovering that they had died without even seeing their enemy. The mother goddess of lust immediately checked the final memory of the divine envoy. To become a divine envoy of the lust church certainly meant being highly in tune with the mother goddess of lust, and in crucial moments, even becoming a vessel incarnation for the mother goddess of lust. Whoosh! The mother goddess of lust watched the memory images of the divine envoy. Seeing the core hall trembling, her expression turned solemn. Anyone capable of shaking her core hall setting must also be a powerful demigod. Finally, in the divine envoy's perspective, a short, stout man walked in. Subsequently, several sixth-rank bishops died, and after the stout man asked a few questions to the divine envoy, the envoy also died. This method of elimination? The mother goddess of lust widened her eyes. Through the divine envoy's perspective, she finally saw the short stout man making the move, several dead sixth-rank bishops, and the subsequently dead divine envoy. Divine kingdom power. This is divine kingdom power. This person is not a demigod, but a true god. No, wait, a true god cannot descend to the mortal realm. Is he a prime god, overseeing all life and gods? The mother goddess of lust was terrified to her core. Her movements toward the plateau of myriad nations immediately reversed, fleeing frantically away from the plateau of myriad nations. Chapter 576 Cursed Killing. Please subscribe. What virtue or ability do I possess that a prime god would descend upon me? In the skies above, the soul of the mother goddess of lust trembled as the 24 prime gods of the world of light and the dark abyss, who had not made a move in many thousands of years. The demigods who secretly spread their faith among humans were hardly different from worms hiding in dark corners to the eyes of the prime gods, who would cleanse them periodically. The mother goddess of lust had avoided several encirclements by the rank church, not because she was particularly powerful, but because the main god of rank never truly regarded her as a threat. Of course, luck played a part as well. Which one of the 24 prime gods could it be? The mother goddess of lust maintained her frantic pace, trying to calm her mind slightly. She believed that the prime god who acted did not target her specifically but had incidentally dealt with the lust church in the process. Fortunately, I wasn't at the church. A look of relief crossed the face of the mother goddess of lust, believing being at the church and facing that portly man made no difference between her and other believers. Returning to the plateau of myriad nations is out of the question. The mother goddess of lust, like a bird scared by the mere twang of a bow, thought, although the cost this time was grievous, at least I survived. The mother goddess of lust's face brightened. As long as I survive, there's hope to gather faith and lift high the divine kingdom. Underground palace in Anpu City. Lin Yuan stood beneath the deity statue and suddenly opened his eyes. Found you. Though bound by cause and effect and separated by countless distances, Lin Yuan located the rough position of the mother goddess of lust. Not in the plateau of myriad nations? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. No problem. As long as he utilized the cause and effect, locking onto the position of the mother goddess of lust was easy. Cursed killing. Lin Yuan's expression grew slightly solemn, and, following the rules of causality, traced the cause and unleashed a terrifying power that instantly spanned countless distances. The curse-killing skill was a way of utilizing the rules of causality. To curse-kill someone, a medium was needed, which could be an object or the cause and effect itself between the two entities. Moreover, the realm of the curse killer must be at least 2 major levels higher than the cursed, and the mother goddess of lust, being a 7th-rank demigod, met the conditions as Lin Yuan's true realm was 9th rank. Lastly, once the curse killing is successful, the curse killer needs to withstand the backlash from the causality rules, paying a substantial portion of lifespan as the cost. The curse-killing skill is heavily restricted and not frequently used in the main universe and main world, mainly because the price is too high and it's not a permanent kill, as the cursed, if talented enough, could still be resurrected by a supreme being. In the high skies, the mother goddess of lust, while rejoicing for her escape from a prime god, suddenly turned pale. In her perception, an overwhelming, intangible force, against which she stood no chance, arrived in the blink of an eye. This, before the mother goddess of lust could form a thought, her physical soul was reduced to dust, permanently erased from this world. Dead. Lin Yuan sensed that his causal connection with the mother goddess of lust had vanished completely, confirming her absolute death. If the mother goddess of lust had other means of saving herself, their causality would still exist. Using causality to determine death is a mainstream method among the strong in the main universe and main world. The backlash is coming? Lin Yuan's forehead furrowed slightly, faintly feeling he had lost a trace of his lifespan. It's roughly equivalent to 1,000 years. 8,000 years of lifespan just to curse-kill a 7th-rank life? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Indeed, this was not worth it. Unless there is some deep hatred. But for a 9th-rank powerhouse wanting to kill a 7th rank, there are too many methods, and the curse-killing skill has the lowest cost-effectiveness. 8,000 years of lifespan, that's all. Lin Yuan didn't care. If this were in the main world, he might lament the loss of 1,000 years of lifespan, but in a traversing world? Given that he already knew his residency time was limited to only 1,110 years, lifespan was the least meaningful thing to Lin Yuan here. Even with 100 million years of lifespan, when the time limit of residency is reached, isn't he still required to return to the main world? Because of this, Lin Yuan did not hesitate to use the curse-killing skill on the mother goddess of lust, since any lifespan in this world was gratis anyway. But in this world, 8th-layer gods, embodying the faith of all beings, seem not to have a concept of lifespan? Lin Yuan thought to himself. In this world, under the rules of heaven and earth, 4th and 5th level knights struggle to live past 200 years, 6th rank legendary knights struggle past 1,000 years. 1,000 years is the ultimate lifespan limit for lives in this world. As for 7th rank demigods, once igniting the divine fire, their nature of life begins to change. As long as their divine fire isn't extinguished, they won't die and can normally live tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years with ease. Although they are still greatly inferior to 7th rank evolvers from the main world, they are already considered to have long life compared to other beings. 7th rank demigods can certainly live tens or hundreds of thousands of years easily, but unless they lift high their divine kingdom, they will still die. And 8th layer true gods, let alone 9th rank prime gods, have never been heard of dying of old age unless there was a battle between gods. The Lust Church is reckoned to be dealt with. It's time to go back. Lin Yuan glanced around the grand hall and walked out. Acting against the Lust Church was partly due to the grudge between Longshan Yuan and it, and partly because the region around Longshan Ling was essentially the foundation of Lin Yuan's operations in this traversing mission. Allowing the Lust Church, a destabilizing element, to remain nearby was problematic. Who knew what trouble they could cause, potentially drawing the attention of the rank church again. Chapter 577 Cursed Killing. Please subscribe. _2 The rank church was the church of the prime god. Before regaining the 9th rank, Lin Yuan was not keen on interacting with existences of the prime god's level. Now that Lin Yuan had the strength to resolve it, he naturally took the opportunity to erase the Lust Church. Clear away those bodies. At the thought from Lin Yuan, all traces of corpses and blood within the palace disappeared. If it weren't for the fact that the city of Anpu lay above this underground palace, any disturbance would have affected this prosperous city. Lin Yuan even considered making the entire palace disappear. That should do it. Even if someone were to investigate this place later, at most they would think that the Lust Church has relocated again. Lin Yuan finally stood at the palace entrance and looked back one last time. The Lust Church in Anpu City was secretive, but not entirely without trace. By erasing their presence, Lin Yuan knew it would certainly be investigated later. However, that was all they would be able to investigate. Lin Yuan had already forged the scene, and outsiders would not suspect that the entire Lust Church and their mother goddess of lust had been erased from the world. Magic web. Lin Yuan faintly sensed that sliver of power enveloping the heavens and the earth, which belonged to one of the 24 prime gods, the goddess of the magic web's authority. Building a magic web that covered all of humanity, the more lives that used the magic web, the more colossal the belief power it provided the goddess of the magic web. In Lin Yuan's view, the magic web was not just for communication, it was also the eyes of the goddess of the magic web. If it weren't for the fear of detection by the magic web, preventing the use of enormous power, Lin Yuan wouldn't have needed to enter the underground palace personally. He could have erased the entire Lust Church from outside. Longshan City. Lin Yuan was chatting with his parents. 100 years had passed, and the Longshan Fong couple was still living well without any signs of aging, naturally thanks to Lin Yuan nurturing them secretly with the power of the world. The suppressive nature of this land on lifespan was harsh, but with the power of the world, Lin Yuan was confident in extending the Longshan Fong couple's lifespan to its maximum limit. That is, the millennia only a 6th-rank legendary knight was expected to reach. As for more? According to the rules of this world, one would need to ignite a divine fire and change the form of life. However, given the capabilities of the Longshan Fong couple, that clearly wasn't feasible, or else they would have to achieve what Lin Yuan did, ascending to the 7th or 8th layer of martial Tao, which could also significantly extend lifespan. But that was clearly more difficult. Just then, the Taiyang divine spirit transformed into strands of the power of Taiyang and returned to Lin Yuan's body. Lin Yuan then glanced in the direction of Anpu City. "Son, what's wrong?" Longshan Fong asked, looking at Lin Yuan. "It's nothing, just took care of a small matter," Lin Yuan said casually, having erased the Lust Church, ensuring that Longshan Ling would unlikely be the cause of any issues in the future, saving him some worries. He continued chatting with his parents for a while. Lin Yuan then returned to his cultivation chamber. Whoosh! The Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit appeared simultaneously across from him, and faced Lin Yuan as they sat down. Since he hadn't regained his peak strength, Lin Yuan hadn't brought the mysterious gourd. The two great spirits remained in their soul state, not having used the secret technique, illusory reality, to transform into physical bodies of flesh. The current pace of cultivation is still too slow. I need to restore myself to the 9th rank as soon as possible, then create more spatial layers. Lin Yuan felt considerable pressure, especially since he and Shilan were still being pursued by Hunyi in the Xianhuang's secret realm. Though the special environment of the secret realm assured short-term safety, who knew what variables or accidents might occur? If possible, Lin Yuan did not wish for his Taiyang divine spirit to be annihilated. The sense of the call from the Xianhuang's secret realm was quite appealing. From the 8th to the 9th rank, for me, is just an accumulation of energy. As long as I have sufficient energy, I can quickly return to the 9th rank. Lin Yuan glanced at the eternal stars above the sky, which were the divine kingdoms of the true gods, theoretically harboring infinite energy. But now, Lin Yuan was not suited to stand directly against the gods. "It seems I can only rely on those churches," Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. The churches, as the spokesforces of the gods on earth, also promote the faith of the gods. Although those of the 7th rank demigods were also establishing churches, compared to the authentic True God Church, they were simply not up to par. The True God Church indeed had methods to contact the true gods and could, if necessary, summon the divine incarnation of a god's power. Though this divine incarnation could not utilize the power of the god's divine kingdom, it far surpassed the 7th rank demigods and was enough to traverse the human world unhindered. However, to support the divine incarnation's intervention, a large amount of energy was naturally required, so each True God Church would store a large amount of divine crystals to summon the divine incarnation of a god's power at any time. In the battle for faith, conflicts would occasionally arise among the gods, even leading to clashes between divine incarnations. and Lin Yuan's target was the divine crystals stored by the various churches, which were extremely pure energy sources, even more flawless than the Tai micro clear crystal of the main world. Next, you will go look for the divine crystals. No sooner had Lin Yuan thought this than his two primordial spirit incarnations understood his intentions, sharing one consciousness as three in one. Communication was simply unnecessary. The two primordial spirit incarnations, being embodiments of the soul, could disperse and gather at will, most suited for this kind of mission. Underground Palace in Anpu City. At this moment, several adherents of the rank church stood at the entrance. This palace should be one of the strongholds of the lust cult, but for some reason it's been abandoned. A bishop of the rank church frowned deeply. The lust cult had once made a name for itself in the capital of the empire, with many royals and nobles indulging in the cult's hedonistic pleasures. Later, the rank church discovered that a demigod was covertly gathering faith behind the lust cult and decisively eradicated them. The remnants of the lust cult had withdrawn from the capital, and over the years, the rank church had been searching for traces of the lust cult. Recently, the movements in Anpu City caught the attention of the rank church. By the time the rank church arrived to investigate, they finally confirmed that the lust cult had stayed in Anpu City. Bishop, it's all clear now. There's no trace inside the palace. It must have been deliberately cleaned by the cult. A church follower approached and whispered. It seems the lust cult indeed withdrew voluntarily. The bishop of the rank church nodded slightly. The palace was too clean, and he could tell from the murals on the walls and some residual rituals that this place was a stronghold of the lust cult. Bishop Lane's brow furrowed slightly. All the clues pointed to the lust cult's voluntary withdrawal. But Bishop Lane realized something was amiss. Why would the lust cult withdraw? Given that the rank church had not yet discovered them, the lust cult could have safely hidden here and developed gradually. Why then did they suddenly withdraw? Bishop Lane had dealt with the lust church many times, even leading the onslaught against the lust cult years ago. Therefore, Bishop Lane knew the lust cult well, an influential cult that controlled beings by manipulating their lust, thereby controlling the beings themselves. Throughout the process, it was incredibly subtle. Even those with firm wills found it hard to resist the corruption of the lust church. As long as one was assimilated by lust, they could provide faith to the mother goddess of lust behind the cult. If the lust cult and the mother goddess of lust were allowed to develop, the dark abyss would surely gain a powerful true god. Just what? Why would the lust cult, akin to a rat crossing the street, not run? Would they wait for us to encircle them? Another bishop nearby shook his head slightly. Perhaps. Bishop Lane considered, although he didn't understand why the lust cult had retreated so cleanly, their cult minds were always crazed, defying ordinary reasoning. However, since the lust cult has given up on Anpu City, they must be hiding somewhere else. Next, we need to investigate every region of the empire, striving to find the new stronghold of the cult. Bishop Lane instructed. Chapter 578 Peak, Seeking Subscriptions. After the lust church completely withdrew, the rank church, as usual, inquired about Anpu City and the surrounding viscounties. This matter was then considered thoroughly resolved. Lin Yuan's life returned to peace. In Longshan City, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged in the center of the cultivation field. Rule of time. The great scholars of our human civilization, based on the nature of the rule of time, have summarized 2,173 rule of time models. Lin Yuan pondered, compared to nearly 10,000 spatial rule models, there are far fewer time rule models, but the difficulty of comprehending the latter is much greater than the former. And even if one comprehends all 2,173 time rule models, it doesn't mean one has fully understood the complete rule of time. To completely understand the rule of time, one needs to derive the last step on their own. The 2,173 time rule models simply provide a direction for evolvers to comprehend the rule of time. I have not yet recovered to the 9th rank, cannot open spatial layers, but I have made considerable progress in understanding the rule of time. Lin Yuan felt something wonderful inside. Over the century, he had comprehended more than 100-time rule models, nearly achieving minor accomplishment. This was a depth of understanding usually possessed only by 10th-rank evolvers. Furthermore, Lin Yuan also had deeper insights about space rules. It is not to say that once the complete space rules are comprehended, there are no more debts in the realm of space rules, for space rules are vast and endless, presented in different aspects. What supreme beings comprehend about space rules is on an entirely different level compared to ordinary 9th-rank evolvers. The Moyu Tower Masters, Void Interpretation, described the essence of space rules from another angle, benefiting Lin Yuan greatly, giving him new insights every time he reviewed it. Is everyone here? Lin Yuan glanced around and noticed that many members of the Longshan family had already gathered at the edge of the cultivation field, watching him fervently. A trace of invisible and illusory power began to converge towards Lin Yuan. This world is indeed suitable for following the path of belief. Lin Yuan knew that the power converging was the belief from the Longshan family members in him. This would be extremely incredible in the main world prime universe. In the human civilization of the main world, some evolvers also tried to follow the path of belief, but found that the power of belief was hard to gather, while it was much easier in this world. Unfortunately, the power of belief is too dependent on living beings. If the believers disappear or die, gods who rely on belief as their foundation will also lose their source of power. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Compared to the path of belief, he still preferred to amass power within himself, even if spreading the evolution path just made Lin Yuan's ultimate leap a bit easier. But that's not to say that without spreading the evolution path, Lin Yuan couldn't step into the 12th rank. Lin Yuan's thoughts wandered as he looked at the growing number of Longshan family members. In order to better spread the martial Tao cultivation skill, Lin Yuan every so often lectured within the Longshan family on the key essence of martial Tao cultivation. The leader, that's our leader. The leader is so powerful, just watching him makes my heart tremble. Of course, our leader, the Longshan family head, is regarded as the number 1/4 level knight in several major viscounties, and in the future, he is expected to become a 5th level grand knight, a super genius. The Longshan family members excitedly discussed, with many not practicing the martial Tao cultivation skill, but came specially to see Lin Yuan. Over the century, Longshan Ling's development had caught the attention of several neighboring viscounties. These viscounties joined forces, sending over a dozen peak 4th level knights to Longshan City, trying to pressure the newly appointed Baron Longshan. Those peak 4th level knights were beaten by Lin Yuan single-handedly, without even a chance to fight back. Since then, the several viscounty territories no longer dared to consider any designs against Longshan Ling. In their view, the strength of Baron Longshan was already nearly close to a 5th level grand knight, and entering that rank was just a matter of time. What the peak 4th level knights from these viscounties did not know was that the Baron Longshan they faced was on par with a true god, a terrifying existence. Time passed. Quickly, 2 hours went by. Lin Yuan's lecture was coming to an end, and the surrounding Longshan family members listened as if spellbound. Given Lin Yuan's understanding of the essence of power, even if he wasn't skilled at teaching disciples, his description and explanation of martial Tao cultivation directly pointed to the core. The Longshan family members, if not understanding immediately, at least had some insights, and could gain more by thinking and reviewing after returning home. Above Longshan City, a slightly distorted space. Several figures were standing there, intently watching Lin Yuan below, who was giving his lecture. The 3 figures at the forefront, with subdued auras, were all 6th level legendary knights, the Empire's ultimate reserve strength. On the plateau of myriad nations, perhaps the most powerful empires have demigods of 7th level, but most do not. 6th level is already the limit. 7th level demigods generally have 2 choices. One is to serve a true god, and the other is to secretly spread beliefs, attempting to become a god themselves. Lord Fabian, the martial Tao cultivation skill is spread by that Baron Longshan, said a blond young man respectfully to the elderly man standing at the forefront. Fabian, a myth of the Empire, a peak 6th level legendary knight, even likely to ignite divine fire and step into the realm of the 7th-level demigod. Chapter 579 Peak, Seeking Subscriptions, _2. In my view, the martial Tao cultivation skill is nothing special. Although it can encompass the vast majority of bloodlines, it cannot compare to our imperial cultivation skill when it comes to targeting specific bloodlines, another young man couldn't help but say. The Longshan family made their martial Tao cultivation skill publicly available, and after spreading rapidly, it likewise reached the imperial family of the empire. Fabian immediately realized the importance of the martial Tao cultivation skill, which might lead to a revolution in all knights' cultivation skills, and promptly brought his people to Longshan City to discreetly observe that Viscount Longshan. You should say, our imperial cultivation skill cannot compare to the martial Tao cultivation skill. Fabian glanced at the young man and shook his head. This Viscount Longshan has unlimited potential and could very likely step into the 7th rank. Once these words were spoken, the others around him were immediately dumbfounded. Had they ever heard Fabian give such high praise to a knight? Unlimited potential? Very likely to step into the 7th rank? Good heavens! Were these words really coming from the usually proud Fabian? You don't believe it? Fabian's tone remained calm as he continued to listen carefully to Lin Yuan's lecture below. He couldn't see through Lin Yuan's strength and didn't detect anything out of the ordinary, but from every single word Lin Yuan uttered about the essence of power and the essence of cultivation, he faintly felt that Viscount Longshan's future achievements would far exceed his own. At least when Fabian was his age, he only knew how to exert power and had far less understanding of the essence of power than the current Viscount Longshan. And the higher one's cultivation, the more Fabian realized how important it was to understand the essence of power. My lord, it's not that we don't believe it, it's just too unbelievable. The other few people glanced at each other and said carefully. What a joke. Wasn't every 7th rank demigod knight with a powerful and profound bloodline difficult to reach? The mountain dragon bloodline of the Longshan family was indeed extraordinary, but its limit was the 5th rank. Achieving the status of a 7th rank demigod seemed as hard as ascending to heaven. It doesn't matter. If you don't believe it, just wait and see in 500 years, Fabian said indifferently, for he wouldn't have dared make such a claim if he wasn't certain that Viscount Longshan would step into the 6th rank within 500 years. For only 6th rank legendary knights could live more than 500 years. The martial Tao cultivation skill will be immediately popularized within our imperial family, otherwise, if we continue to wait, the surrounding empires will catch up. After pondering for a moment, Fabian spoke. Over the years, there had been ongoing disputes within the imperial family about how to deal with the martial Tao cultivation skill. At this moment, after having personally seen Viscount Longshan, Fabian had reached his conclusion. As for blocking the news and keeping the martial Tao cultivation skill solely within the imperial family, that was not very realistic. By now, too many knights within the empire were aware of the martial Tao cultivation skill, and the same was true for the surrounding empires. The reason there had been no movement so far was entirely because they were still studying the martial Tao cultivation skill. Understood. The knights behind him immediately responded. In the imperial family, Fabian's authority was second only to the rank church, and within the family itself, his word was absolute. Also, cozy up to this Viscount Longshan immediately elevate his title to Earl, and the surrounding surplus territories, as well as the territories of those few Viscounts, let them all go to the Longshan family, Fabian mused, then continued. Yes, the others glanced at one another and responded at once. They clearly heard the unprecedented attention Fabian had for Viscount Longshan, directly elevating Viscount Longshan to Earl Longshan. Since the founding of the empire, there had never been such a significant elevation in noble rank, had there? Moreover, Viscount Longshan hadn't yet made any notable contributions. After all, every earl in the empire could have their title and the right to their territory passed down forever, even higher than the empire itself. Let's go. It's time to head back. Fabian took one last look at Longshan City below, then led his people back to the capital of the empire. What the 6th rank peak legendary knight, Fabian, did not know was that just after he left, Viscount Longshan below cast a discreet glance at the spot where he had just been standing. He knows what's up, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Fabian and his group naturally couldn't get past Lin Yuan's perception. Lin Yuan didn't just perceive them, he heard every single word they said. Lin Yuan had long anticipated that the spread of the martial Tao cultivation skill would attract the attention of the empire. After all, compared to the many knights' cultivation skills, the martial Tao cultivation skill was too special, fully capable of replacing the vast majority of knights' cultivation skills. Initially, Lin Yuan thought the empire might take some measures, like controlling him, the source of the martial Tao cultivation skill. But clearly, the higher-ups of the empire were not short-sighted. Realizing that there was no way to suppress the martial Tao cultivation skill, they immediately took the initiative to join in. They even started to woo and reward Lin Yuan, the person from whom the martial Tao cultivation skill originated. After a series of events, even Lin Yuan did not harbor any ill feelings towards the imperial family of the empire. My 2 primordial spirits have already begun to infiltrate the church. Lin Yuan glanced into the distance. Although called the Plateau of Myriad Nations, the number of empires present far exceeds 10,000. Lin Yuan had his 2 primordial spirits collect divine crystals from churches of distant empires, naturally. Rabbits don't eat the grass at their burrow's edge. The empire Lin Yuan was in was named the Slan Empire, a place of faith for the main god of rank. When dealing with a being at the level of a prime god, Lin Yuan remained cautious enough not to provoke a prime god lightly. In another empire far away from the Slan Empire. This place is the land of faith for the Stargaze true god, and the Stargaze Church is the most exalted place in this empire. Stargaze Church. A large number of believers were worshipping devoutly, wisps of ephemeral faith energy converging on the statue of Stargaze true god, then transferred to the true god's true form in the ocean of light through the statue. In the depths of the church, the Pope watched with a smiling face as divine crystals kept condensing in front of him. It seems my God is very pleased this time to bestow so many divine crystals, the Pope thought with joy. Divine crystals contained incredibly pure energy, which could not only support divine incarnations but also greatly aid in cultivation. The divine crystals bestowed by the Stargaze true god this time could sustain the cultivation of all the Church's 5th level and above powerhouses for hundreds of years. If I could consume these divine crystals, perhaps I could step into the 7th rank, then raise the divine kingdom, and enter the ocean of light with my God, to exist eternally? The Pope stared at the divine crystals in front of him, and a hint of greed suddenly rose in his heart. Just then, a figure silently appeared beside the Pope. The figure was indistinct in appearance, shrouded in a mysterious aura. The Pope glanced at it, failed to react immediately, and then his face changed dramatically. You are... Before the Pope could finish his sentence, his consciousness plunged into darkness. When he awoke again, he found the divine crystals that the Church had accumulated for thousands of years were gone. Who on earth? The Pope of the Stargaze Church had bloodshot eyes. So many divine crystals just vanished? Outside the church, Lin Yuan's form reconstituted itself. Not bad. Lin Yuan glanced at the newly acquired quantity of divine crystals and nodded slightly. Though the quantity was not large, there were many such occasions. Along the way, divine crystals amassed by dozens of churches had fallen into his hands. Keep going. Lin Yuan knew he had to be quick. He aimed to gather enough divine crystals to step into the 9th rank before the gods could react. Time passed. 10 years flew by in a blink. In these 10 years, Lin Yuan's 2 primordial spirits traveled through half of the plateau of myriad nations, and countless churches of the true gods fell prey to Lin Yuan's pillage. Of course, Lin Yuan was only interested in divine crystals. As for the congregations, he did not lay a hand on them. He mainly wanted to minimize the situation as much as possible. Killing the followers or only the Church's upper echelons would be tantamount to declaring war against the gods up front, which would not benefit Lin Yuan's subsequent collection of divine crystals. Longshan Ling. In an underground cave somewhere. Lin Yuan looked at the large pile of divine crystals in front of him. He took a gentle breath, and a great number of divine crystals shattered, merging into Lin Yuan's body. In an instant, the inner world within him began to expand, and the spatial layers became denser and more vast. Having the experience of stepping into the 9th rank in the main world prime universe, Lin Yuan re-entered the 9th rank without any hiccups, even managing to suppress any noise from the breakthrough. Whoosh, inhale, an indescribable and transient aura filled the air. No one knew that in the insignificant location of Longshan Ling in the Slan Empire, an existence on par with the 24 supreme gods was born. Chapter 580 Divine Lattice. Please subscribe. The sky was gloomy, the stars hanging high. Lin Yuan walked out of the cave, in a pleasant mood. Returning to the 9th rank not only meant more time to open up derived space layers. It also symbolized Lin Yuan's qualifications and confidence to traverse this world without fear. Compared to other gods, Lin Yuan wasn't burdened by faith. So long as he was among mortals, even a prime god wouldn't dare to make a move against Lin Yuan. How would they dare? With Lin Yuan's blood rebirth and elemental body, two major defensive divine skills combined, even if faced with an assault and siege by 24 prime gods, he could last a very, very long time. And he might not even die at all. At most, he would just be sealed. The aftermath caused during that period, to say it would cover more than half of the mortal realms would not be an overstatement. At that time, countless lives would fall and perish. For Lin Yuan, this wasn't considered a loss. The worst he would do is give up spreading his law in this world. That's all. But for the gods, this was all about the foundation of their faith. Before Lin Yuan descended, the prime gods of the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness, even if they started a divine war, would not let the flames of war spread to the mortal realms. They all existed by the faith of mortals and wouldn't do something that destroyed their foundation. But Lin Yuan was different. He didn't care about the life and death of mortals. This was also the drawback of the path of faith. With the power of faith, 7th rank half-demigods could more easily raise a divine kingdom. How much trouble would those 7th rank peak evolvers of the main world have to go through to open up an inner world? But in this realm, one only needed to gather enough mortal faith. But one's success and downfall could also hinge on faith. The flaw of the path of faith was obvious. One could be both uplifted and beholden to the will of mortals. Of course, waging war with the 24 prime gods was an extreme situation, and Lin Yuan wouldn't do it unless absolutely necessary. It could only be said that Lin Yuan, having recovered his 9th rank strength, now had the qualifications to negotiate with the 24 prime gods. Lin Yuan tended to prefer that the 24 prime gods remain unaware of his existence until he reached his limits. These years of madly collecting divine crystals from various churches must have caught the attention of the true gods of the ocean of light. Lin Yuan thought to himself. It couldn't be helped, even the most fanatic demigod wouldn't target a true god church to plunder. Demigods merely wanted to quietly collect faith. As for standing against true gods, they weren't that foolish. But Lin Yuan didn't regret his actions. Without those divine crystals, his recovery to the 9th rank would have been delayed by at least another 50 or 60 years. And the churches that Lin Yuan targeted were backed by true gods who were not so dominant. It was fine as long as he didn't draw the attention of the prime gods. The number of spatial layers has exceeded 200,000 all at once. Lin Yuan's consciousness incarnation descended into his inner world, carefully feeling the fluctuations of the multiple spatial layers. While the spatial layers required Lin Yuan to open them one by one, similar to realms, once a spatial layer was opened, he would fully grasp the mysteries of that layer. Just like a strand of Lin Yuan's spirit will descending into the demon jade space, even without the support of the many spatial layers of the inner world, he could still easily occupy layers upon layers of space. This world has a rich foundation with at least trillions of spatial layers. After stepping into the 9th rank, Lin Yuan's sensitivity to spatial layers became clearer, and he could even faintly sense the existence of two extremely powerful spatial layers. That should be where the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness were located. The ocean of light and the abyss of darkness, where the gods resided, not existing within the main space. Over the long years, many powerful demigods desired to know the exact location of the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness, where all the gods lived. Many demigods traveled across half the mortal realms and still couldn't find it. In fact, the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness were not within the mortal realms at all. However, with Lin Yuan's current sensitivity to spatial layers, as long as he wished, he could enter the spatial layers where the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness were located at any time. Given the current rate at which I'm opening spatial layers, barring any accidents, before the time limit of my stay is up, reaching millions of layers should be a safe bet, Lin Yuan thought. This was almost equivalent to the speed of 10,000 layers per year, overwhelmingly surpassing countless 9th-rank evolvers of the main universe. The Tianyu clan's Hunyí opened up over 30 million layers, but how much time did he spend? And how many treasures and resources? Even so, averaging it out, he was far from reaching 10,000 layers per year. At most, it was about a dozen layers per year. As long as I reach the myriad heavy realm of the 9th rank, then Hunyí will be no threat at all. Lin Yuan was very confident, especially since, in this traversal, he had awakened the great physical divine skill, elemental body. The most terrifying aspect of the elemental body lay in its growth potential. In theory, once Lin Yuan stepped into the 12th rank, he could also be immune to 90% of the rule attacks from a supreme being. Xianxia's secret realm. Lin Yuan, through the door to the myriad realms, faintly felt his Taiyang divine spirit in the Xianxia's secret realm. Xilan was still fleeing in desperate straits under Hunyí's attack, and Lin Yuan faintly sensed that Xilan's aura had weakened somewhat. This weakening was not about physical strength or soul, but a weakening of the spirit will, such that it affected the other avatars. Hang in there for another 2 years, Xilan. Even if this avatar of yours perishes, I will make sure to bring your treasure back, Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. Although he had deceived Xilan about being a senior, as long as the other party could hold on until Lin Yuan finished his traversal. Chapter 581 Divine Lattice, please subscribe. _2 Lin Yuan was inherently an elder, fully capable of dealing with Hunyí. Ocean of Light. Within a vast, winding palace. A gathering of true gods convened here. In the Ocean of Light, the 12 prime gods of light reigned supreme, holding sway over certain rules and authorities. The rest of the divine hosts were ranked according to their realms of power and types of faith, divided into lower-rank gods, middle-rank gods, and upper-rank gods. At this moment, the true gods gathered here included 18 lower-rank gods and 1 middle-rank god. This is preposterous, utterly preposterous. They even dare to steal the divine crystals bestowed by us. It seems that the evil gods of the mortal realm have forgotten our divine majesty. The true gods were filled with anger, as over the years, the churches they had established had their accumulations of divine crystals progressively plundered. Although their churches were not on par with the main god church, which had demigod-level combat power on standby for defense, they were not easy to rob. Those capable of such a feat must be at least of the demigod level, and a very powerful one at that. Because the churches that had their divine crystals plundered were not limited to these few gods, but were merely the first to convene. There were many more true gods who were asleep and unaware of such incidents. What should we do now? The ones who stole the divine crystals were extremely cautious and careful, leaving no clues behind. Moreover, what do those evil gods gain by stealing divine crystals? What's the benefit? A true god expressed doubt, questioning why those level 7 demigods weren't gathering faith instead of stealing divine crystals. The essence of divine crystals was a pure energy aggregation formed by true gods using their divine kingdoms over long periods. It was used to support the energy needed for their divine presence to descend to the mortal realm or to maintain the operation of the divine kingdoms. The demigods, already residing in the mortal realm and having no divine kingdoms to support, what was the point in seizing so many divine crystals? Regardless of the motive, brazenly plundering our churches is a provocation. I suggest we investigate immediately with utmost effort. Yes, we need to find out which evil god is responsible. I will extract his soul and burn it in the divine kingdom for 10,000 years. The many true gods spoke in icy tones. Their dignity since ascending to the ocean of light and establishing divine kingdoms had never been so violated. I will have my followers unite with other demigods to clarify this matter. Just then, the only middle-rank god among them spoke up. Under the constraints of the 24 prime gods, these true gods could not personally descend to the mortal realm. As for dissension through divine incarnations, maintaining a divine incarnation required a large amount of divine crystals, and conducting such a time-consuming investigation couldn't always rely on divine incarnations. The purpose of a divine incarnation was to settle matters conclusively, such as identifying the key perpetrator behind the multiple church raids, whereupon they would then send a divine incarnation to suppress directly. Thus, deploying demigods to investigate this matter was the best choice. Many demigods in the mortal realm allied themselves with churches, but only those associated with powerful churches. Longshan Ling Underground Cultivation Room. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Within his mind, the door to the myriad realms faintly glimmered. A grayish-green gourd slowly emerged from the door to the myriad realms, crossing infinite dimensions, descending into this world. Also, a bell-shaped weapon was transmitted through the door to the myriad realms, arriving along with the grayish-green gourd into Lin Yuan's hands. Now that he had restored his power to its peak period, possessing the ability to defend himself in this universe, Lin Yuan naturally summoned the mysterious gourd. By absorbing the liquid within the mysterious gourd, he could continuously enhance both the base size and strength of his inner world and physical body. Furthermore, it could enhance his physical body divine ability blood rebirth. A higher level of blood rebirth allowed Lin Yuan to absorb the liquid in the mysterious gourd not from the beginning but to quickly catch up to the most recent progress. Just as in the main world prime universe, Lin Yuan was already close to completely absorbing the blue liquid within the mysterious gourd. In this world, Lin Yuan could achieve complete absorption of the blue liquid within a short period, from half a month to a few months. By the same logic, it can be concluded that if Lin Yuan in this world had completely absorbed the sixth type of liquid, the blue liquid, from the mysterious gourd, then the original Lin Yuan in the main world would be able to achieve this progress swiftly as well. The two are equivalent to synchronization of realms. Besides the mysterious gourd, that bell-shaped treasure was naturally the Origin Fine Gold. Origin Fine Gold possessed terrifying growth potential, but it required a significant amount of time to nurture. In the main world, Lin Yuan's cultivation speed was simply too fast, with hardly any worlds to nurture, only striving in the shuttle worlds. After all, carrying these two treasures into the shuttle worlds merely consumed 2 strands of world-breaking origin force, and with Lin Yuan's current wealth of over 100 strands, it was completely sustainable. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, another 2 to 3 years had gone by. Finally, Lin Yuan's consciousness descended into his inner world, which at this moment was vast and expansive, approaching a size of nearly 2 billion miles in diameter. To be precise, it was 1.665 billion miles. Compared to the original size of 10 million miles, it had grown 16.65 times. That was the total increase brought about after completely absorbing the green liquid. The mysterious gourd contained 7 types of liquids, with the blue liquid and the purple liquid following the green liquid. Blue liquid. Lin Yuan inverted the mysterious gourd, its spout pointing downward, as a drop of deep blue liquid slowly formed. What exactly forms this liquid? Lin Yuan observed carefully, as at his current level, he could see through numerous spatial layers at a glance. But he was still somewhat puzzled about the nature of the blue liquid. Even when magnified millions of times, the blue liquid remained just that, blue. Unchanged. This was quite incredible, as any object, when magnified millions of times, would show a different microscopic pattern, presenting more detailed components. But the blue liquid seemed to have no microscopic nor macroscopic form. In fact, not just the blue liquid, even the initial red liquid was the same. Whatever, as long as it benefits me, the principle behind it will become clear later. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before he started to absorb the blue liquid. As soon as the blue liquid entered his body, a terrifying blue flame ignited, and with the help of the blood rebirth divine skill, Lin Yuan barely held on for a while before his body turned to ashes, only to recondense and come back to life afterward. Unaware, Lin Yuan had already been the family head of the Longshan family for 100 years. During these 100 years, the Longshan family had developed rapidly, especially 20 years ago when the imperial family of the Slan Empire openly granted substantial favors to the Longshan family, elevating their noble rank directly to Earl. It is known that outside of wartime, the promotion of a noble rank is extremely difficult. The imperial family is not foolish, for the more Earls there are, the less power and territory they themselves hold. The territory of Earl Longshan encompassed the lands of several surrounding viscounts as well as other vacant lands, reaching 5 billion miles in diameter, nearly 10 times that of the original 60 million miles. Furthermore, martial Tao cultivation skill had already spread even further, accompanied by being the first widespread practice in the Slan Empire. Other empires followed suit. At least the strong within these empires repeatedly studied and found no pitfalls in martial Tao cultivation skill. With no pitfalls and a cultivation method that could achieve the effects of almost all night cultivation methods, why not promote it? The later it was promoted, the more knights the already popular empires would produce each day, lagging step by step, which would eventually impact the strength of the nation. Of course, the proliferation of martial Tao cultivation skill made countless strong individuals across the plateau of myriad nations curious about Earl Longshan of Longshan Ling, from whom the martial Tao cultivation skill had originated. Many demigods turned their gaze towards Longshan Ling. Outside Longshan Ling, from a corner shadow stepped out a gaunt old man. This old man, whose aura was contained, had a hooked nose and gloomy eyes, looking towards the distant Longshan Ling. As a demigod who had ignited the divine fire, he had lived nearly 100,000 years, experiencing countless events. Thus few things could arouse his interest anymore. Earl Longshan, full name Longshan Yuan, the spreader of martial Tao cultivation skill. This cultivation skill I have seen is intricately detailed, far beyond what mere knights of the 4th or 5th level might create. This Earl Longshan has a big secret. The gaunt old man's figure swiftly blurred, turning into an almost invisible shadow, and stealthily entered Longshan Ling. Chapter 582. 300 years later, please subscribe, Longshan Family Great Hall. Lin Yuan was listening to Longshan Ling's report. All the trivial matters of the Longshan family had been delegated to several trusted subordinates for handling, with Longshan Ling being one of them. Lin Yuan only needed to listen to reports periodically to grasp the overall direction. In this extraordinary world, individual might towered above power structures, and as long as Lin Yuan maintained his absolute strength, he needn't worry that such delegation of power would result in him being ousted. On the contrary, the members of the Longshan family were well aware that the Longshan family's present glory was all thanks to Lin Yuan. Without Lin Yuan, the Longshan family would just be a minor Viscount-level power tucked away in a corner, nowhere near the Earl Longshan who now dominated the southeastern region of the empire. Patriarch, over the years, the number of strong warriors stationed in Longshan City has been increasing, with 4th-level knights, 5th-level great knights, and even 6th-level legendary knights appearing within the city. As Longshan Ling reported, a storm of emotions surged within her. A century ago, not a single 5th-level great knight would emerge in a span of hundreds of years around Longshan Ling and its vast surrounding regions, yet now they were appearing with increasing frequency, including those above the 5th level, 6th level legendary knights. In the past, such figures would have been considered supremely eminent individuals beyond Longshan Ling's wildest dreams, even influential figures within the Slan Empire. I understand, said Lin Yuan, nodding calmly. In fact, with the continuous spread of the martial Tao cultivation skill, such phenomena would become even more pronounced. Those powerful beings who were rarely seen would now want to understand the origins of the martial Tao cultivation skill. and if there were any cultivation methods superior to the martial Tao cultivation skill. People are greedy, some can suppress their desires, while others cannot. Then Longshan Ling hesitated slightly. Don't bother about them, Lin Yuan shook his head. With the deterrence of the Slan Empire, no strong warriors below the 7th level demigod would dare cause trouble. By bestowing upon the Longshan family the title of Earl in a public ceremony, the Slan Empire was effectively supporting the Longshan family. As for 7th level demigods? If they dared to harbor other intentions, Lin Yuan could crush them with a mere thought. Yes, Longshan Ling said respectfully. Towards the Earl Longshan, who was about her age, Longshan Ling felt an almost dependent level of trust. It seemed as if no matter what, even if the sky were to fall, Lin Yuan would be able to hold it up. Outside Longshan City. Several breaths hidden in the shadows were communicating with one another. What are you old geezers doing here? What you're doing here, I'm doing here. Haha, in the end, it's all for the secrets behind Earl Longshan. The owners of these breaths were all demigod-level beings. In fact, by the time one reaches the 7th level, demigods have largely lost interest in most worldly affairs. Their only obsession was with achieving godhood and continuing to grow stronger. The emergence of the martial Tao cultivation skill had ignited a certain hope in these demigods. The intricacy of this cultivation method was such that even demigods could not possibly have invented it. Thus, in secret, many demigods speculated whether Earl Longshan had by chance obtained divine favor. The so-called divine favor refers to opportunities of the level of gods. To most beings, gods are immortal, but long-lived demigods know better. Gods can die. For example, by initiating a war of the gods? The stars formed by fallen gods would fall from the heavens. If one is fortunate enough to enter a shattered star, there's a possibility to find the treasures of that deceased god. This was also why so many demigods were congregating here. Opportunities at the level of gods might not allow them to become gods, but they can reveal more secrets. And if by chance they acquire a genuine divine artifact, they would indeed become invincible under true gods. A divine artifact could shield a demigod, acquiring more belief and concerned with whether they could raise their divine kingdom to enter the ocean of light or the abyss of darkness. If Earl Longshan truly obtained divine favor, we can share it equally, said a figure in a gray robe. He too was a renowned demigod. Naturally. We are all fellow practitioners, there is no need for violent conflict. Indeed, we agree to share Earl Longshan's godly secret equally when the time comes, the other demigods said, but they harbored other plans in their hearts. If it's merely secrets, they could be shared equally, but what if it's a divine artifact? With only one divine artifact, how could it be divided? However, the demigods present were all old foxes. Even if a real fight were to break out, it would only happen upon seeing tangible benefits. Currently, even though it might just be courtesy, none would turn against each other. Let's sneak in quietly and after we capture Earl Longshan, directly perform a soul search, said a gaunt old man lurking in the shadows. Agreed. No problem. The demigods nodded. In their eyes, Earl Longshan was already a dead man. Apart from those true gods high above in the ocean of light and the abyss of darkness, who on earth could withstand the combined assassination of several demigods? You must know, being able to appear outside Longshan City so quickly, these were no ordinary demigods but rather powerhouses among demigods. That Longshan Yuan, targeted simultaneously by these formidable demigods, was undoubtedly doomed to die. Let's go. Move in. The 8 demigods immediately began infiltrating Longshan City with great caution. Although they were strong, they were not foolish. They knew that many demigods were watching Earl Longshan, holding back only because of mutual wariness. If these demigods were to take action, they would aim to cause as little commotion as possible, lest they attract the attention of other demigods. Soon. Chapter 583 300 years later, please subscribe. _28 demigods entered Longshan City and infiltrated the Longshan Great Hall. Is that Earl Longshan? Just a little fellow over 100 years old? One by one, the demigods hid in the shadows, carefully observing Lin Yuan without making the first move. Since they had speculated that Lin Yuan might have obtained a divine chance, they had to consider whether he had any trump cards. Divine chances do not only contain true divine artifacts but also many other means that could seriously injure demigods even after many long years. Therefore, the demigods were all extremely cautious. The closer they were to success, the more they needed to keep their composure. This was common knowledge to all demigods. There shouldn't be any problems. I haven't felt any danger. True, I haven't sensed any aura of an 8th-layer true god either. A few demigods looked at each other, disappointment flickering across their faces. This meant that the divine chance Lin Yuan had obtained might be very ordinary, not even bringing out a treasure that carried the aura of a true god. But anyway, even a mosquito's worth of meat is still meat. They had come this far and couldn't possibly return empty-handed. Wait a moment. Suddenly, a gaunt old man hiding in the shadows slightly changed his expression, looking solemnly at the other 7 demigods. What kind of strength does Earl Longshan possess? The gaunt old man immediately asked through transmitted thought. What kind of strength? Seems to be 4th level? No, it's 5th level. The 7 demigods immediately responded through thought transmission. After all, Lin Yuan was right in front of them. They weren't in a hurry, and the duck in their mouths wouldn't fly away. Whether it's 4th level or 5th level, can you all sense Earl Longshan's strength now? The gaunt old man asked with a hint of incredulity in his tone. As he said this, the faces of the 7 demigods changed at once. 4 7th-rank demigods, whether it was 4th or 5th level didn't make much difference, and it was practically indistinguishable from 1st and 2nd levels or even ordinary people. But not making a difference doesn't mean they were the same. In the eyes of the 8 of them at that moment, Earl Longshan's aura was hidden, no different from an ordinary person. 4 3rd or 4th level knights, they might feel Earl Longshan to be unfathomable, but all 8 here were demigods. How could they not sense Earl Longshan's specific aura? Something's fishy? The gaunt old man's brow twitched imperceptibly. Although as demigods their premonition and awareness gave no warnings, he just felt that something was off. Me too. Shall we withdraw first and then discuss? The other demigods also began to think of retreating. Earl Longshan gave them a very odd feeling. An odd feeling that made their hearts tremble. Just as the 8 demigods exchanged glances, planning to leave and make long-term plans, a gentle voice suddenly rang in their ears. Guests have arrived, please stay. Under the astonished gaze of the 8 demigods, Lin Yuan looked up at them. Be careful. All 8 demigods were on high alert, ready to respond with full force. The words of Earl Longshan meant that he had discovered them long ago. But how was that possible? They had been careful enough, and even other demigods might not have been able to detect them. Could it be that Earl Longshan was also a demigod? Before the 8 demigods could figure it out, a terrifying force from the depths of the void crushed them to smithereens. In the Longshan Great Hall, under Lin Yuan's gaze, the 8 demigods disintegrated without resistance. Thinking of killing me for my opportunity? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Since he dared to reveal his martial Tao cultivation skill, he had already taken these possibilities into account. How could he possibly stay in the Longshan Great Hall without sufficient strength? Is this the first time I've directly killed a demigod? Lin Yuan thought to himself that although he had killed the mother goddess of lust decades ago, it was a cursed killing from countless miles away without ever having seen her face. This must be the demigod lattice? Lin Yuan looked at where the 8 demigods previously stood. After their physical bodies and souls had completely turned into dust, 8 round crystals fell to the ground. It must be the demigod lattice. In this world, when knights reach the 7th rank, they ignite the divine fire and condense the demigod lattice. Once they elevate their divine kingdom, the demigod lattice within them will transform into the divine lattice. Whether it's a demigod lattice or divine lattice, both are the absolute core of demigods or true gods. the embodiment of their everything. Whoosh! 8 crystals floated in front of Lin Yuan, spinning leisurely. The crystals were of different colors, emitting different auras, such as the emaciated old man who always hid in the shadows. His demigod lattice was the color of shadows with a faint space fluctuation flowing through it. There was also the figure in the gray robe, whose divine lattice appeared gray, undulating with a poisonous aura. Lin Yuan looked over them casually, grasping the shadowy demigod lattice that was emitting the space fluctuations and briefly probed it with his mind. Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly. After probing into the demigod lattice with his mind, Lin Yuan vaguely obtained the perspective of the demigod lattice. Suddenly, Lin Yuan felt the world had become different. The world, once filled with various rule fluctuations, now had only space and shadows remaining. Although only these two remained in Lin Yuan's perception, they became extremely clear. Originally, even in the main World Prime universe, with the help of the rich space fluctuations on the battlefields of different races, Lin Yuan's perception of the space rules was still vague, but now, it was extremely clear. The many spaces and shadows in this world seemed mystical, especially the vast, slow unfolding of billions of spatial layers before Lin Yuan. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essence of the world's rules. Your perception of space and shadows continues to rise. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essence of the world's rules. Your perception of space and shadows continues to rise. Your against heaven's understanding allows you to observe the essence of the world's rules. Your perception of space and shadows continues to rise. Rumbling. Inner world. The vast expanse was nearly 200 million li in radius, and the number of spatial layers was nearing 300,000. Not only that, the number of spatial layers in the inner world was still increasing at a rate of 30 to 50 layers every day. However, when Lin Yuan used the demigod lattice's perspective to look at this world and its layers upon layers of space, the development of spatial layers in the inner world seemed to take a fixed direction and started skyrocketing. 30 to 50 layers a day. 300 to 500 layers a day. 3,000 to 5,000 layers a day. Rumbling. Layer after layer of spatial layers developed, making the land of the inner world become substantial and the sky profound. What? Lin Yuan suddenly opened his eyes, pulling away from the perspective he had just experienced. The demigods of this world, their demigod lattices are condensed from world rules, which allows them to comprehend the most fundamental rules of heaven and earth? Lin Yuan was somewhat shocked. Simply put, the rule-based attack methods controlled by the demigods of this world rely entirely on the demigod lattices within their bodies. With the power of the demigod lattice, they unleash the mysteries of rule-based attacks. This shadowy space demigod lattice could probably allow me to open up 1,000,000 layers of space. Lin Yuan's thoughts converged. It wasn't that the demigod lattice itself contained the mystery of 1,000,000 spatial layers, but rather, the spatial origin mystery that this demigod lattice could glimpse into was that vast. Seeing and owning are two different concepts. Lin Yuan was at the 9th rank, and with his against heaven's understanding, he was able to exert such an effect with an ordinary demigod lattice. Against heaven, Lin Yuan silently marveled, it's truly against heaven. If a demigod lattice can have such an effect, what about a divine lattice? Lin Yuan's eyes heated up slightly. This demigod lattice spanned both shadows and space, but only space was of great use to Lin Yuan. Among the other 7 demigod lattices, there were 2 more concerning space. 3 demigod lattices together, excluding the overlapping essence of space, could open up an additional 2,000,000 spatial layers for Lin Yuan. One must know that since Lin Yuan stepped into the 9th rank, the total number of spatial layers was less than 300,000, and this was on the premise of comprehending dozens of cosmic forces, more than a dozen higher cosmic forces, and 1 source-level cosmic force. And now he could directly increase by 2,000,000 spatial layers? Demigods? Demigods who have comprehended the space attribute? Lin Yuan took a deep breath. Every demigod lattice with the space attribute could glimpse into a part of the essence of space, which was greatly useful for Lin Yuan to develop spatial layers. From now on, both primordial spirits will focus on searching for those demigods, Lin Yuan decided internally. He didn't harbor a killing intent for those demigods with spatial lattices. As long as the other party cooperated and actively allowed him to sense their internal demigod lattices. Once Lin Yuan finished comprehending, he would only seal them up and release them after the 1,000-year living limit had passed. 1,000 years was not significant for the longevity of demigods. And so, time slowly passed by. In the blink of an eye, 300 years had passed. Chapter 584 90 million spatial layers, subscription request. 300 years had passed, transforming Longshan Ling remarkably. The territory of the Longshan family expanded repeatedly, even occupying 1/5 of the Slan Empire. If it weren't for that legendary patriarch of the Longshan family who hadn't explicitly agreed to allow the rank church to establish itself there, the Longshan family would likely have become the Longshan Empire by now. In the plateau of myriad nations, the establishment of any empire requires the approval of the main god church. This is a cast-iron rule set by the gods of the Ocean of Light. However, even without establishing an empire, the influence of the Longshan family today is hardly weaker than that of an empire. That legendary patriarch of the Longshan family was declared a demigod over 100 years ago. For this, the Longshan family was endowed with endless glory. A demigod, as long as they do not stand against the church and covertly gather followers, can live exceptionally comfortably. The Pope of the rank church had worried when he first learned that the Longshan patriarch had stepped into the 7th level of demigod. He feared that the other party would utilize the Longshan domain to gather followers. But after observing for a while and even employing the church's unique ability to sense the gathering of faith, and confirming that there was no fluctuation of faith gathering around Longshan Ling, he completely put his mind at ease about the Longshan patriarch. After all, a demigod who doesn't cause trouble and isn't interested in followers can save the church a lot of worry. With the tacit consent of the rank church, the development of the Longshan family thereafter was exceptionally smooth. On this day, many members of the Longshan family gathered toward the clan training grounds. Today should be the day the patriarch talks about the martial Tao cultivation skill. I finally get to see the patriarch. Such a day only comes once every 10 years. Our current patriarch of the Longshan family is a spectacular talent, stepping into the 7th level of demigod before the age of 500. Surely that must break the records of the neighboring empires, right? The faces of the Longshan family members beamed with pride, their tones filled with fervor. This was not something strange, for before Longshan Yuan assumed the position of patriarch, the Longshan family was just a small force tucked away in the southeast corner of the empire. I heard that the Pope of the rank church has invited the patriarch to join the church several times, promising to request a subordinate deity spot from the main god. A subordinate deity, that is a deity subordinate to the prime god, a much higher status than those gods who reside alone in the divine kingdom. It's a pity that the Longshan patriarch did not immediately agree, saying he needed to think it over. Worthy of our patriarch, if a prime god invited me to become a subordinate deity, not even needing to be a prime god, any god inviting would make me wake up laughing from my dreams. Many members of the Longshan family gathered at the edge of the training ground, and as it was still early and the patriarch had not yet appeared, they quietly discussed among themselves. The focus of the discussion was naturally still the Longshan patriarch. Being a demigod and receiving an invitation from the main god church was undoubtedly an incredibly remarkable matter. The plateau of myriad nations is vast and broad, the number of demigod-level powers is considerable, yet it's rare to hear of a demigod-level power being so valued by a deity. Now not only was the Longshan patriarch deemed significant by a deity, but this deity was also one of the 12 prime gods of light, such an honor undeniably evoking envy from many demigods. Though becoming a subordinate deity would mean losing freedom, it would be as a deity subordinate to one of the 12 prime gods of the Ocean of Light. Since ancient times, the number of true gods might fluctuate, but the number of prime gods has always been fixed at 24, neither more nor less. just as countless members of the Longshan family continued their discussions. In the center of the training ground on a high platform, a figure appeared at some unknown time. The patriarch has arrived. The patriarch is here. One by one, the members of the Longshan family ceased their conversations, their gazes intensely fixed on the figure on the high platform. In the Longshan family, the Slan Empire, and even the Rank Church all needed to step back. Only the patriarch was the sole heaven. In the center of the platform, Lin Yuan, with his hands clasped behind his back, glanced at the masses of Longshan family members on the edge of the training ground. It's been 300 years already. Lin Yuan felt somewhat emotional in his heart, for during these 300 years, aside from his own cultivation, he also guided his clan's people in the practice of the martial Tao cultivation skill. After all, related to the transmission of the art, Lin Yuan was still willing to devote himself to this aspect. And under Lin Yuan's occasional guidance, the number of practitioners of the martial Tao cultivation skill rapidly increased, with over 10,000 of the Longshan family members cultivating to the 4th level. Over 2,000 reached the 4th level, and more than 50 reached the 5th level. There was even one who reached the 6th level, equivalent to a legendary knight among martial Tao cultivators. This was only within the Longshan family, as there were even more cultivators outside practicing the martial Tao cultivation skill, though they lacked Lin Yuan's personal guidance. But with such a base, the number of strong cultivators at various levels of the martial Tao cultivation skill was greater than that within the Longshan family. In just 300 years, such achievements had been realized mainly due to the localization of the martial Tao cultivation skill, which primarily focused on tapping into the power buried deep within one's bloodline. This approach indeed meant sacrificing potential for future growth, but, in terms of training speed in the early stages, it was indeed formidable. The spread of the martial Tao cultivation skill was just one of the many minor accomplishments of Lin Yuan over these 300 years. One of Lin Yuan's greatest achievements in the past 300 years was in the development of the spatial layers, reaching an astounding 90 million layers. 90 million layers of spatial layers, a number Lin Yuan would not even dare to dream of before beginning his current journey. Chapter 585 90 million spatial layers, seeking subscriptions? _2 Even with against heaven's understanding, dozens of cosmic forces, more than a dozen higher cosmic forces, and one source-level cosmic force aiding him, Lin Yuan dared to set his sights only on the countless spatial layers, and that too was a result of spending 1,000 years of residence time. Even so, such a pace of expansion had reached 10,000 spatial layers a day, which in the eyes of other 9th-rank powerhouses was utterly unattainable. But now, with the advent of divine lattice, especially those with spatial attributes, it was as if he had been handed the key that unlocked the essence of the space rules of this world. Lin Yuan's speed at expanding the derived space layers soared exponentially, completely defying all logic. To simply put it, those 9th-stage powerhouses in the main world prime universe had to comprehend and expand their spatial layers bit by bit, one at a time, while Lin Yuan's method of expansion was different. He could simply use the layers of this world as a template for his own. The moment he finished expanding a spatial layer, he would instantly grasp the spatial origin source insights related to that layer. For example, the 9th-stage powerhouses in the main universe had to create spatial layers from scratch, like deriving a complex formula without any direction or target known in advance. Whereas for Lin Yuan, it was as if he had already received this formula beforehand and merely needed to derive the process from it, which drastically reduced the difficulty by several magnitudes. 90 million spatial layers? Lin Yuan gently closed his eyes, feeling the boundless power transmitted from his inner world throughout his body. In the starry sky where the myriad clans of the main world classified the 9th rank into 5 tiers, reaching 10 million layers was already the extreme limit of the 9th stage peak. As for 90 million layers? Hunyi had opened up 30 million spatial layers and thus was already the strongest 9th rank being of the Tianyu clan. 90 million layers, one could estimate that throughout all the races of the main universe and even including those unique, special beings, there were probably only a handful that could come close. Here close does not mean reach or exceed. Especially those unique special beings, which are so rare in the vast cosmos, their innate talents are terrifying beyond belief. These special beings with such unfathomable depth could open up spatial layers with almost the same ease as eating or drinking drink, scarcely any less simple. Even so, to expand to 90 million spatial layers, not to mention expanding even just counting layer by layer, it would take a very long time, wouldn't it? The most critical point is, according to the current trend, 90 million layers is far from Lin Yuan's limit, with still more than half of his designated residence time remaining. Lin Yuan still had a great deal of room to grow. It's a pity, the current demigod lattice is not of much use to me anymore. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Over the past 300 years, he had used his 2 primordial spirits to search the world for demigod lattices with spatial attributes, that is, demigods with the ability to manipulate space. If one were to divide the spatial origin source of this world from bottom to top into 10,000 parts, the key to the spatial essence held within a demigod's demigod lattice would only occupy the lower third of that range. As for the upper 2/3, the demigod lattice's tier was too low, it could not see that far. As Lin Yuan gradually mastered the bottom third of the spatial origin source, other demigod lattices with spatial attributes began to overlap with the spatial essence he had already grasped. The divine lattice of a true god should be able to help me further advance. Lin Yuan looked up at the sky, which in reality meant observing the spatial layers where the ocean of light and the dark abyss resided. No rush. Take it slow. Lin Yuan's thoughts reconverged. Even though the current demigod lattice didn't have as great an effect on him as before, it still had some use. He still intended to thoroughly comprehend the demigod lattice and the 1/3 area of spatial essence it could glimpse into before dealing with divine matters. My inner world has now reached a scale of 108.3 billion miles in circumference. Lin Yuan's consciousness descent into his inner world revealed that he had absorbed much of the 6th type of liquid from the mysterious gourd, the blue liquid, over the past 300 years. In theory, once he completely absorbed the first 6 types of colored liquids, Lin Yuan's inner world would reach a circumference of 1.998 billion miles. Approaching 2 billion miles for my inner world, plus 90 million spatial layers, my current power should be at the level of 9th rank invincible, shouldn't it? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Unlike the 8th layer, the 9th rank did not entertain the concept of invincibility. Because the confrontation between 9th rank powerhouses was not about the level of power and might, it wasn't a matter of brute strength ensuring victory. Unless it is a strike from a supreme being that tears through countless spatial layers, a strike of such caliber that no matter where you hide or flee to within those layers, you are doomed to die. The combat among 9th rank fighters requires competing across multiple spatial layers. For instance, under specific conditions, 9th rank fighters like Xilan, who cannot open up less than 1 million spatial layers, can easily elude top 9th rank fighters like Xianxia who can open over 30 million spatial layers. But that was before. Now, with the scale and solid foundation of Lin Yuan's inner world, he could effortlessly suppress other 9th rank fighters with a mere gesture, including Xianxia who could open over 30 million spatial layers. If this isn't invincibility, what is? Now I just need to conclude my traversal. The predicament of the Xianhuang secret realm is truly nothing, Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. However, doing so would be somewhat of a waste of this opportunity to traverse. Even though he had the world coordinates in hand and could continue the consciousness descent, it would require the expenditure of 10 strands of world-breaking origin force. Time. Lin Yuan, through the will of his inner world, raised his right hand, and time began to fluctuate smoothly and steadily, either accelerating or pausing. Time pause. A touch of surprise flashed across Lin Yuan's eyes, as in the past 300 years, he had deduced over 200 time rule models, gaining some understanding of the ability to pause time. It can't be maintained for a long duration? Lin Yuan tried it out and found that the longer he sustained the time pause state, the greater the backlash from the time rules would become. It's like when you forcefully dam up a breach, you may stop the river's flow temporarily, but as the upstream water accumulates more and more, the eventual breach will result in an even more severe disaster. The pause in time was similar. Forcing time to pause in a particular region would continuously suffer backlash brought about by corrections from time rules. With Lin Yuan's current foundation, he could at most pause time in a certain region for 20 breaths. Any longer, and he would suffer irreversible damage. And the region where time was paused couldn't contain any exceedingly powerful life forms. Pausing time for a stone versus pausing time for a 9th rank life form. Naturally, they are not the same in terms of difficulty. In the midst of his thoughts, Lin Yuan looked around at the numerous clansmen of the Longshan family and began to impart the martial Tao cultivation skill. Several hours passed. Lin Yuan's lecture reached its conclusion. Under the rapt gaze of countless Longshan family members, Lin Yuan disappeared from the center of the arena. The underground cultivation room. Lin Yuan's figure reappeared. These 300 years, I have secretly abducted a large number of demigods, including many from the True God Church. It must have had a significant impact, Lin Yuan silently pondered. To better comprehend the spatial essence of this world and thereby open up layer upon layer of space, Lin Yuan, apart from the demigods of the main God Church whom he did not target, had visited most of those from the True God Church. This was far more serious than the pillaging of the divine crystals from the True God Church 300 years ago. In the absence of interference from the true gods, the demigod tier powerhouses are the strongest combat forces of the churches. As for the descent of godly power incarnations, they are the last resort. Most matters, as well as conflicts with other churches, still rely on the demigod tier powerhouses. It's not a problem. Lin Yuan only pondered for a moment, not too concerned. If 300 years ago, Lin Yuan held some apprehension toward the gods of the ocean of light and the dark abyss, after all, the 24 prime gods were beings of his same rank. Now, having opened 90 million spatial layers and with his inner world approaching an expanse of nearly 200 million square miles, Lin Yuan has truly become in this world unfearing of all. Chapter 586. Do I have to hide? Please subscribe. Continue to open up more spatial layers. Lin Yuan's thoughts converged. Actually, Lin Yuan could have attempted to break through to the 10th rank as early as when he created millions of spatial layers. According to the experiences of countless 9th rank beings in the main world, breaking through to the 10th rank, millions of spatial layers were enough to meet the threshold for the breakthrough. But Lin Yuan did not wish to forsake the greatest opportunity presented by this traversal. After breaking through to the 10th rank, the inner world would continue to transform and begin to solidify to a certain degree. At that time, creating spatial layers as one could at the 9th rank would not be so easy. Instead of that, it was better to open up as many spatial layers as possible while still at the 9th rank. Why did Xianxia, the strongest 9th rank being of the Tianyu clan, open over 30 million spatial layers but still refuse to break through to the 10th rank? Was he foolish? Certainly not. Spatial layers represent the depth and thickness of a world, a more hidden foundation aside from its evident size. The more spatial layers one opens at the 9th rank, the greater the help for stepping into the 10th rank, and even the 11th rank, when the inner world transforms into an inner universe. This is also why Lin Yuan is currently opening spatial layers so fervently, although it can't be said that missing this opportunity would leave him without another chance. But the opportunity must be seized. Besides, another reason Lin Yuan has not attempted the 10th rank breakthrough is the Xianxia secret realm. The Xianxia secret realm prohibits those at the 10th rank and above from entering, a rule established since the opening of the Xianxia secret realm. Even supreme beings cannot forcefully enter, and Lin Yuan worries that if during his traversal, the nature of his spirit will transforms, it would be detected by the Xianxia secret realm as anomalous, and then he would be ejected from it. Of course, this possibility is not very large. When Lin Yuan's will arrives, even if he truly breaks through to the 10th rank, it doesn't have much to do with his main body. For Lin Yuan, the descent of will also has a trial and error purpose. But to be cautious, considering many aspects, Lin Yuan still prioritizes opening more spatial layers. After all, with his current accumulation, whenever he wants to break through to the 10th rank, he can do it. There's absolutely no need to hurry the process. Those 9th rank peak powerhouses who had just opened millions of spatial layers were anxious to try breaking through to the 10th rank because their lifespan was nearing its end. They had no other choice, that's why they did it. Lin Yuan still has plenty of lifespan left, so there's no need to rush. Xian Huang's Secret Realm. Lin Yuan once again perceived the situation through the door to the myriad realms, sensing the circumstances on the side of the Taiyang divine spirit. Xilan's breath has already weakened by nearly a quarter. Lin Yuan was aware of this numerically, knowing Xilan could still hold on for a while. As for the damage to his main Bodhis avatar caused by burning his spirit will, that's not irreparable. After all, once Lin Yuan finishes his traversal and returns to the Xian Huang's secret realm, he can give Xilan some opportunities. Lin Yuan can foresee that, after his traversal ends with his strength, he should be able to sweep away all the 9th rank beings in the Xian Huang's secret realm. At that time, all the resources in the secret realm would be there for his taking. Actually, even if Lin Yuan doesn't experience the entire traversal, he would still be able to sweep through the entire Xian Huang's secret realm if he returned now. Ocean of Light. Hundreds of true gods were seated in a spacious hall. Lin Yuan's 2 primordial spirits abducting a large number of demigods had completely angered the gods of the Ocean of Light, on top of the massive looting of divine crystals 300 years ago. Old grudges and fresh grievances made the gods' teeth itch for revenge. My most devout follower, a 7th-rank demigod named Mosi, has vanished without a trace for over 200 years. I can feel that he is still alive, but I have no idea where he is. A true god with a single horn scanned the many gods around and said, "My 2 demigod followers are the same. Who could this be, capable of eluding our perception?" Another true god, with white wings, spoke. "My followers are the same. To elude our perception, could they have fallen into another divine kingdom? Is it those divine beings from the Dark Abyss doing this? No, that's not right. The Dark Abyss has its own prime gods who would not do such a thing," one said. Hundreds of true gods conversed, and eventually concluded that their followers could indeed be in other divine kingdoms, as this was the only explanation for the gods' inability to perceive their followers. However, this divine kingdom may not be from living deities, as the remnants of fallen gods' divine kingdoms from the distant past had similar abilities. So you're saying someone abducted our demigod followers and hid them in a fallen divine kingdom? What does the other party want? Why not just kill them? Why do this? The gods were puzzled, and while the conclusion seemed incredible, it was the only explanation that made sense of their situation. Could it be that a group of powerful demigods in the mortal realm luckily obtains a divine opportunity and acquires a fallen divine kingdom? Then they begin targeting our Chuch's demigods, abducting them one by one, and for some purpose, keep them in that fallen divine kingdom? Soon, some true gods started theorizing about the cause and sequence of events. Despite there being many inexplicable aspects, they managed to clarify the reasons behind the events. Now what do we do? Where exactly are our demigod followers, and who is the mastermind behind all of this? Any clues? A true god voiced their doubts. Rest assured. Just then, a true god sitting in the highest seat spoke up. He was an upper-rank god, one of the most powerful and high-ranking beings beneath the prime god. He surveyed the hall of gods and slowly said, "I have already given the aura of your followers to the god of divination over 100 years ago, for him to deduce the last known location of their presence." Chapter 587. Do I have to dodge? Please subscribe. Understood. As these words were spoken, the hearts of the gods present were certain. The god of divination, one of the 12 prime gods of the Ocean of Light. The powers the god of divination commanded were very special, that is, premonition and divination. The god of divination could merge with heaven and earth, observing the changes and evolution of all things in the world from a unique perspective. In simple terms, as long as the god of divination was willing to pay the price, he could know anything in the world. However, to ask the god of divination to take action also required a huge price. If it wasn't for the fact that their demigod-level followers had suffered such severe losses, this upper-rank god would not have sought out the god of divination. The god of divination told me that the results would be given out during this period, said the upper-rank god seated at the head. Good, then we shall wait. As for the price of asking the god of divination to take action, we will also bear some of it, the gods said to each other after exchanging glances. The upper-rank god seated at the head looked slightly better upon hearing this. Time slowly passed. Before long, several months had gone by. The expression of the upper-rank god at the head suddenly changed. Seeing this, the other true gods turned their gaze towards him. A moment later, the complexion of that upper-rank god gradually returned to normal. He then looked at the gods and slowly said, "The god of divination has given the results." As expected of the god of divination, that is the source of the aura we could not find no matter what. Where exactly was the last place our demigod-level followers disappeared? The gods looked at the upper-rank god with anticipation. The god of divination said, "The last place where all the followers' auras disappeared was in the Longshanling area of the Slan Empire on the plateau of myriad nations." The upper-rank god stated directly. The Slan Empire, that's the territory of the main god of rank. Longshanling? I remember now, the Lord of Longshanling is talented and gifted. The outside world has theorized that he might have received a divine favor. Divine favor? I understand now. The prime culprit behind the abduction of our demigod-level followers is none other than the Lord of Longshanling, which fits with our earlier speculation that all the followers were hidden in some ruined divine kingdom. The Lord of Longshanling, the Longshan family patriarch, a demigod under 500 years old, truly deserves death for daring to secretly act against us. If not for the god of divination, we would still be in the dark to this moment. The Longshan family patriarch truly deserves death. The god's tone was indignant, but they did not act rashly. After all, Longshanling was situated within the territory of the rank church, which was the church of the main god of rank. Without clarity on whether the main god of rank was related to this matter and whether he was aware, as angry as the true gods were, they had to remain sensible. "Let's go. We ourselves shall descend with divine power incarnations and head to Longshanling to see if the great main god of rank will deal with this matter." Indeed, the great main god of rank advocates for order, and the actions of that Longshan family patriarch are akin to creating chaos. I don't believe the main god of rank is aware of this. The gods exchanged glances and immediately came to a decision. The 12 prime gods of the Ocean of Light were lofty, and the main god of rank was no exception. With the stature of the main god of rank, how could he possibly care about those demigods of the mortal realm? This matter was likely the doing of the Longshan family patriarch and had little to do with the main god of rank. However, regardless, the people of the Longshan family were within the territory of the rank church. Even if they were in the right, they still had to give notice. I have had contact with the Pope of the rank church of the Slan Empire. Let me inquire first if he knows of this matter. A true god spoke, immediately separating a wisp of divine power to make contact. The Pope of any true god church has an extremely special connection with the true god themselves, perhaps even as a direct descendant. For a main god church like the rank church, its Pope is directly an attached spirit of the main god of rank's will carrier. Only in this way can they better control the entire church. Attached spirits, though not free, are still divine beings. Residing in the Ocean of Light, it was perfectly normal for the gods present to have had contact with the other party. We leave now, to Longshanling to demand an explanation. Countless true gods within the Great Hall sent down divine power avatars within their respective churches, grandiosely moving towards Longshanling in the Slan Empire. The Slan Empire. The rank church. The Pope suddenly opened his eyes. The Longshan Patriarch is the main culprit behind the abduction of numerous demigod-level powerhouses from the church in the past few centuries. There are now a great number of avatars of divine power descended from true gods, rushing this way. The rank pope's brow was furrowed, his true form belonging to the spirits of the ocean of light, carrying out the commands of the main god of rank to manage the mortal churches. The mission given to him by the main god of rank was not only to manage the churches but also to search for demigods with enough potential to be guided to the ocean of light and become subordinate spirits to the prime god. Over the years, the one he had taken such a fancy to most was the chief of the Longshan family. The other party was young, with tremendous potential, and moreover, his lack of interest in the faith made the rank pope very inclined to win him over. And in these years, the rank pope had also been making efforts in this direction. Nonsense! For so many true gods to descend avatars of their divine power without regard for face, isn't that a farce? The rank pope immediately rose and hastened towards Longshan Ling. He also felt somewhat uneasy in his heart. If those true gods dared to make such a big move, they must have decisive evidence. Should this matter blow up, it would definitely not bode well for Longshan Yuan. The main god of rank valued order, and order included both rewards and punishments. If Lin Yuan truly was the main culprit in the disappearance of many church demigods over the past few centuries, and the main god of rank became aware, he would surely act according to the rules without any partiality. Cold and impartial, these words describe the main god of rank. We absolutely cannot let Longshan Yuan meet with that group of spirits. The rank pope decided to protect Lin Yuan. As long as the two sides had not met and confronted each other face to face, there was room for the situation to de-escalate, and then it would be easy to speak on behalf of the prime god. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the rank pope arrived at Longshan Ling. I want to see the Longshan patriarch. The rank pope directly approached the entrance of the Longshan Great Hall. See the patriarch? Longshan Ling and a few others immediately stepped forward to greet him. They recognized the rank pope and knew his status and position, not daring to show the slightest neglect. Correct. The Longshan patriarch may be implicated in the disappearance of demigods over these past few centuries, and now a great number of avatars of true God's divine power are coming to accuse him. The rank pope briefly explained. What? Your Holiness, there must be some misunderstanding here. Longshan Ling and the others were trembling avatars of divine power descended by hundreds of true gods? Those were the avatars of the true God's divine power that could level Longshan Ling with just a mere leak of their presence. Longshan Ling and the others also quickly realized that the reason why those true gods were willing to come and accuse in person was probably to give face to the rank church. Otherwise, with the overbearing nature of the true gods, they would simply have acted directly to obliterate Longshan Ling, no questions asked. What's most important now is, before that group of true gods arrives, we take the Longshan patriarch to our church to hide for a bit. The rank pope quickly said. The true gods dared to come to Longshan Ling to accuse, but they would absolutely not dare accuse in front of the rank church. That would be the dignity of the main god of rank. Yes. Seek the church's shelter. They knew the importance of Longshan Yuan to the Longshan family. Anything could happen to anyone in the Longshan family, even total destruction. But nothing could happen to Longshan Yuan. With Longshan Yuan present, rebuilding the Longshan family was only a matter of time, but without Longshan Yuan, even if every member of the Longshan family survived, what awaited them was partitioning by other forces. As for what Lin Yuan just said need to hide, Longshan Ling and others believed it meant denying any connection with the disappearance of the many demigods. A true God incarnation was a continuation of a true God's will, and even the incarnation of a lower-rank God approximates the threshold of an 8th-layer true God. But now, these true God incarnations were struggling like ants in Lin Yuan's palm? How could this be possible? This is wrong. The rank pope immediately looked towards the edge of the sky. Just a moment ago, to be precise, Before Lin Yuan stretched out his right hand and those several hundred Jezi figures emerged in his palm, the rank Pope could distinctly feel terrifying auras rapidly approaching Longshan Ling. Those should have been the true God incarnations coming to seek accountability. But now, all of those auras had vanished without a trace. The rank Pope had originally thought that the incarnations concealed their presence out of wariness of the rank church. But now, the rank Pope, staring at the struggling Jezi figures in Lin Yuan's palm and considering the sudden disappearance of the incarnation's auras, a terrible thought suddenly surfaced in his mind. At the same time, in the ocean of light far away, the true body of the rank Pope began to contact those gods who had come to hold others accountable. These true God incarnations might have been trapped in Lin Yuan's palm, but their true selves were still free, although at this moment they were in complete disarray. All true God incarnations are trapped in an unknown and vast space, unable to break free, unable to return to the ocean of light. Some true gods wonder if it was the hand of the prime god of the dark abyss? The rank Pope uncontrollably swallowed his saliva, his gaze still fixed on Lin Yuan's right palm. Trapped in an unknown and vast space? Could it be the palm of the Longshan Patriarch? Waves of shock crashed in the heart of the rank Pope, and he could no longer maintain a calm expression. Because it was beyond belief. Just a demigod from the Longshan family, and merely by lifting and retracting his right hand, he trapped hundreds of true God incarnations in his palm? This was no longer within the capabilities of true gods, and even an upper-rank god of great power couldn't possibly possess such skills. This was the work of a prime god. The realm of a 9th-rank prime god. Even the rank Pope felt that for a 9th-rank prime god, killing a few hundred true gods might not be a difficult task, but to play with hundreds of true gods at the spatial level like Lin Yuan did? Perhaps even those prime gods not proficient in spatial abilities couldn't achieve this with such nonchalance. Defeating and killing are two different things. Killing and toying with them are equally distinct. Longshan Patriarch. The rank Pope's voice trembled as he looked at Lin Yuan, whose back was turned to him, his gaze wandering into space. It's over. Those true God incarnations won't be coming anymore. Lin Yuan glanced at the rank Pope and then at the confused-looking core members of the Longshan family like Longshan Ling. Chapter 591 on the brink of collapse. Please subscribe. _2 Among the 12 prime gods of the ocean of light, the god of divination is the most unique, and also the best-tempered. The other prime gods, such as the main god of rank, goddess of the magic web, rainbow dragon god, and so on, are almost absolutely rational, spending their time either in slumber or in seclusion. Only the god of divination would sometimes solve their doubts. Previously, the gods had sought the god of divination to deduce the last known locations of the vanished demigods. Now it seems that this deduction was clearly correct. With the strength of the Longshan Patriarch, secretly abducting some demigods was too easy. Could the Longshan Patriarch be a deity who nearly perished long ago before the divine kingdom plunged into the mortal realm? A true god speculated. In the distant past, several divine wars had occurred, with many deities perishing and divine kingdoms falling into the mortal realm. However, the fall of a divine kingdom into the mortal realm did not mean certain death. As long as there were still believers in the mortal realm, the perished deity still had a possibility of returning. Of course, the probability of such a possibility was so low as to be pitiable, merely a theoretical possibility, and in reality, it had never occurred. But the Longshan Patriarch was too powerful, so some true gods couldn't help but think in this direction. Whether he is a perished deity from the past or not, once we see the god of divination, everything will become clear, another true god responded. They had absolute trust in the god of divination. Longshan Great Hall. Within the cultivation room, Lin Yuan sat down cross-legged again. The taste of a divine power incarnation is somewhat better than that of mere divine crystals. Lin Yuan smacked his lips, casually giving his opinion, knowing that in the main world prime universe, the pure energy contained within these divine power incarnations far exceeded that of scarlet spirit liquid. It's a pity that it is only an incarnation. If it were the true God himself, at least I could have tried out the effects of true divine nature. Lin Yuan felt a bit of regret. With his current strength, the incarnations of the true gods weren't much different from the originals, as the absolute control over nearly 100 million spatial layers allowed Lin Yuan to overpower any true god or even a prime god on the spatial level. But it won't be long now. Once I completely understand the last bit of spatial essence in the demigod lattice. Lin Yuan thought to himself. In his eyes, the spatial essence contained in the demigod lattice was a reflection of the spatial essence of this world. It was like a television. The demigods only knew to watch programs through it.